Hello, and welcome to the REL 6 and 7 Div Preview, Week 3.
Hi, friends.
So this is going to be a team review, team look at week. So we'll take a look at the results of the things that just occurred. We will then, do the leaderboards, and we'll take a look at the teams as they stand. Probably slightly faster than week 1, because ideally not too much has changed, but we also may have forgotten what we said the first time, and we tend to talk a lot anyway, so maybe not faster, who knows.
We'll give it the old college try.
And then predictions. Do we have anything else to say, or shall we jump right into things?
Jump right in.
Okay,
Yay.
we can be...
We're doing 10...
7 first.
Or 7, rather?
Yeah, we'll start with 7 this time.
My division, 10D.
Yeah, we can go look at yours if you want. Most people here probably won't care. So now we are small. And this is what the results for Div 7 were this week. So first we had the Old World Wardens versus the Reality Kings. We both predicted Kislev to win this, and it was a tie. So no points there. Let's see. Similar ball possession. Number of passes from the Kislev, which are not surprising. Undead outblocked the Kislev, not surprising. 6 KOs, 4 KOs. What happened to the Kislev?
The Kislev got fucking annihilated and somehow didn't lose.
Yeah, 7 casualties sustained.
6, yeah, I mean, one was from the floor then, or from fouls.
But still managed to 1-1 it. Whether that means, maybe, I imagine that was like, they each scored once, and then the Kislev tried to score a second time, like on their drive or whatever, and then just ran out of players and couldn't make it happen, and that's why we ended up with a 1-1.
They were getting the shit kicked out of them, so...
It's a lot of SPP for the Undead, so I'm sure they're happy with how that game went, and that's a really good Kislev team, so like a tie is probably acceptable in their mind.
The Kislev failed 52% of their armor rolls, which is a good start, and then they failed 66% of their injury rolls? Yeah, and then half their CAS rolls. So this explains to you what happened here.
Then we had Rats against Teen Stars versus Sugar and Spikes. I need to find where our predictions are. So I predicted that the Orcs would win, and Shadorra predicted that the Rats would win. So this is a win for him.
Where's this?
This is the Rats against Teen Stars versus Sugar and Spikes.
Oh, I've got my things labeled wrong. Hold on.
Well, recall that you did your predictions separately and sent them to me afterwards, because I solo cast this last week. Interestingly enough, it meant that there was a lot of contentious picks, because we didn't discuss with each other, I guess. But
I'm the winner.
More than normal.
So it looks like the MVP went to a dead lineman, which is
never good.
Sad. Looks like the Rats ran roughshod over the Orcs. They got a lot of SVP out of this game.
Yeah, the Orcs had the ball for quite a lot of time, and they outblocked the Rats, but the Rats managed to out-injure the Orcs, which is surprising. I mean, yeah, Claw is a thing, but when you only have one, you don't expect to do more than the Orcs would against your armor 7.
Yeah, it looks like the armor was not really holding for the Orcs. The Orcs failed even more of their armor rolls than the Kislev did. The Orcs failed 56% of their armor. So a lot of stuns, which is enough for Rats to kind of do whatever they want. 10 of the 14 armor breaks were stuns, so that's actually above average.
Especially since
slightly.
Orcs are pretty slow compared to Skaven, so if you knock them over and they're stunned, they tend to basically be irrelevant for the rest of the half, because the Skaven are so far away from you by then.
Yep, exactly. So, really good game for the Skaven. Looks like they got exactly what they wanted, and they sustained 2 injuries, but if those aren't perms, then they're pretty happy with how this went. And we can see from the MVP page that one of the linemen was injured, and that's not a perm.
Yeah.
Good game for the Skaven.
Yep, and then Hornstars 2018 versus Ye Old Guard. So we both predicted the Chaos to win this, and we were right.
Yeah, I mean, this Nurlge team is very underdeveloped, and
yeah, that's basically what I said last week. To the gist of, they're both sort of bashy punchy teams, but the Chaos are a better bashy punchy team right now. The Nurlge aren't really developed enough for it, so the Chaos will probably win that game. And they did, with 7 injuries inflicted.
Jesus.
8 casualties and a death sustained by the Nurgle, so ouch.
Yep. 15 armor breaks to 6 tells that story. Claw Mighty Blow isn't a fake skill sometimes.
Sometimes. For the most part, I feel like it is, but, you know, sometimes it's not.
Yep. So, yeah.
One successful pass and catch for the Nurgle, so they made a vanity pass at least, I guess.
Yeah, well, hopefully they didn't lose anything too important.
But that's 10 for 14, 18, 22, 25 SPP for the Chaos. That's a lot. And they win 2-0, so the Chaos are probably pretty pleased with how that went as well.
For sure. Then we have the Squeaky Blinders versus Stump Force. I called this for the Dorfs.
So did I.
You called it for... Okay, and it looks like it was a tie, so no point.
Nope. No, we're not doing so well. I mean, I guess I'm not doing so well.
I'm doing great.
Well, I mean, you're doing better than me, but so far we were tie. You were right. We were right. Yeah, I suppose you're doing
Hey,
fine.
Ben, that Longbeard leveled. What do you think it took?
Mighty Blow or Stand Firm?
Plus strength, bitch.
Of course.
The only other thing you would take on a Longbeard. Well, maybe Diving Tackle.
So we've got... It was 1-1. Dwarves...
Yeah, it looks like the rats just couldn't run the score up before they sustained 8 removals, so...
Yeah,
the story of rats versus dwarfs, really.
Yeah, the dwarves just want to try really hard to remove as many rats as possible to prevent them running the score up and then make it easier for them to actually score. But between the removals or whatever, I'm not exactly sure how it went, but one way or the other, either the rats couldn't run up the score or the dwarves didn't remove enough rats to make it easy for them to 2-1 grind it.
Dwarfs sustained a ton of armor breaks. I wonder if there's claw on this Skaven team, or if that was just
probably
hardcore variants.
You'd imagine there would be.
And then we have, I mean, that Dwarf team has higher AV on average than most, even because it's got the AV10
to the Death Roller.
Death Roller, yeah.
Best.
Not that I
best
think the
player.
rats probably knocked it over. Salty Chips,
yep.
The Mordheim Crypt Keepers. I called this for the Dark Elves.
Me too. And it was a 2-1 for the Dark Elves. The Blitzer picked up MVP, which puts him really close to leveling, so he's Blodge Tackle.
He's niggled, though, now. Unfortunately, that is a permanent that he has eaten. I don't know if it was from this game or not, but... Oh, it must... No, it doesn't have to have been, but... Mummy leveled up amusingly, or not amusingly.
And rolled doubles.
Wonderfully. Yep, rolled a block. So, lucky.
But 2-1 for the Dark Elves, sort of as expected. We didn't think the Undead were sort of developed enough to deal with the crazy development that exists on the Dark Elf team. They'd probably be able to get some injuries, but, you know, with only the two mummies, only 2 Mighty Blow when they're that slow, probably doesn't necessarily do something against Armor 8.
Yep. Oh, damn. The Undead got a lot of hits in.
They did. With 55 blocks.
55 blocks is a lot.
That is a lot.
I mean, it looks like at some point the Dark Elves started to lose numbers. And from that point on, maybe it was easier for the Undead to surround them and kind of cut them off from easy dodge. Yes, Gray 570, we did just start.
Yep, we just started. We're just starting with 7 instead of 6 so that we're maybe slightly more fair. Switch back and forth so that we're not like tired by the time we get to 7 every time.
And then, in total upsets, the fucking Ogres beat the fucking Wood Elves.
Yeah, so I don't know how you want to call this one, because I predicted the Wood Elves would win, but you didn't predict until after the...
You lose points. Fuck you.
Like, it's not really fair. You didn't make a prediction. And you probably would have... Honestly, would you have predicted the Orcs or the Ogres or the Wood Elves if you didn't know the result?
I'm getting at my violin for you. It's just a little... It's hard because the case is so small. It's such a tiny violin.
So you're saying I can just win by never predicting anything? Like, or is that a
no,
rule?
No, I mean, like, you also had the opportunity to get more points than me. It was a risk-reward scenario, and you were punished for poorly...
I mean, I think I would argue the same thing if I was right. In that it's not exactly fair.
We'll call that one a null result, you baby. It looks like the Ogres utterly annihilated the Wood Elves with 15 armor break.
Yeah, I watched the second half of this game, and the Wood Elves did a lot of... They gave away a lot of blocks that they probably shouldn't have. Like, they did a lot of basing. They kept trying to do, like, uphill blocks. The Ogre... There were 2 Ogres capable of, like, picking up the ball relatively reliably. and one of them did, because there's that Agi 3 ogre, and he just sort of walked down the side while the Wood Elves kept trying to uphill him over and over again, and eventually they just lost Wood Elves because that happened.
Did they not have any strip ball?
I think they did, but he went out really fast. He was on the sidelines after a hit from the ogres. Like, the ogres just got enough removals that the Wood Elves had a hard time, but I think the Wood Elves probably made it easier than they should have for the ogres to get removals, if that makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough.
8 casualties and 3 casualties.
Casualties.
And
damn casualties over there.
3 casualties and 8 KOs. Well, I tried to say KOs and casualties at the same time.
I know. It's beautiful.
8 KOs and 3 casualties. And they didn't get to, like, Snotling Hunt very much, which they may have wanted to concentrate on a little bit more. But yeah, 1-0 to the ogres in what nobody expected. And an ogre picking up MVP, which is always good. I think he's 1 SPP away from leveling now, but he has the Agi 3, one of the 2 Agi 3 ogres on this team, so...
The AV bust wasn't from this game, so
it was not,
he
no.
was already AV busted.
I
guess you keep him, because...
Yeah, the VOD is probably on this channel somewhere, because it was within the last week, so if you want to, I think there's some... I didn't watch the whole game, but I watched some of it on stream. And yeah, there was probably more basing by the Wood Elves than needed to happen, but there was it was at some point it became very much the Wood Elves couldn't do anything. Like, at some point in the game there's literally nothing you can do, and that happened, but maybe there was some things that he could have done earlier to make that not the result.
My favorite thing about this is looking at the bonehead stats for a developed ogre team. This ogre team rolled 85 bonehead rolls.
Yeah, well, when you have 6 ogres.
Yeah, I know. Do the math. It works out.
And you got 84%.
Yep. Nearly average. Slightly above average, you dicing piece of shit.
Well, we also, when you have, and it's something like 4 rerolls, and you have ogres that are like Agi 3 and don't need to reroll things as often, you can reroll the boneheads a lot.
Sure, yeah, but it doesn't affect the success rate of boneheads.
Right, because it counts the failed one, and then you do another.
It does count the failed one.
Anyway, then we had the Bash and Lizzies versus the Crypt Lords to Boogaloo, where we both predicted the Necro, and we were both wrong again. So this is not really good.
No, not really good at all.
Although the Werewolf picked up MVP and a bunch of SPP, I guess, to level him.
Yeah, they both actually leveled on MVPs. Both of them got kind of what you'd expect, so nothing exciting.
Nope.
Yeah, it looks like the Lizards just outpunched the Necro, which can happen. Necro are armor 8, so a little bit of variance can go a long way against them. 8 removals to 4. It was 3 injuries inflicted by the Crypt Lords, but apparently it wasn't enough to curtail the Lizard nonsense. Lizards do struggle typically against Necro.
Especially,
players to kind of sustain casualties on any regular basis without immediately losing the game. So.
Yeah, and the claw is the bane, the natural enemy of Saurus, and if you can remove a Saurus, then you get chances at skinks, and skinks going down is bad. And the
it looks
zombies.
Like it was just a matter of armor breaks, though. The Necro sustained 45% armor breaks, which is incredibly high unless every hit was with Mighty Blow, which, as this is Lizards, probably was.
Yeah.
So it looks like the Lizards had some very kind armor dice, while the Necro had unkind armor dice, rather. But
yeah, if you can remove a wolf, basically, as the Lizards, suddenly things swing pretty hard in your favor. Anytime Saurus are on the floor, especially if they're even just stunned, which is likely to be the case with Claw, you kind of lose a lot of pitch control when you just don't have that Saurus available to move where you want it to. And then, you also have zombies that are pretty good at just making Saurus sad for, tying them up for a couple turns. So if you can get a couple removals as the Lizards, it swings really fast, and it's probably what happened.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's Div 7.
Here's the leaderboard.
Now let's look at the teams. Oh, you want to look at the leaderboard? Fine.
Yep, so after that week, we have Salty Chips, Rats Against Teen Stars, and the Bash and Lizzies tied for first. And then we have Reality Kings and Squeaky Blinders in second there with their 1-1 records. And then a bunch of 1-0-1s, 0-1-1s. This will certainly spread out more as the league goes on, but we have our sort of 5 league leaders currently in Dark Elf, Skaven, Lizards, Kislev, and Skaven.
So you got 0 points from this division. Good job.
Yep. 0. There's a lot of ties. Well, were there a lot of ties?
There were 2 ties.
There were 2 ties. I mean, okay. Seven matches, and if you assume the average is 0, you would, or 50-50, you'd think that you should get 1 point on average. Or no, because we -1 for losses. I don't know. I'm too lazy to work out how that actually works right now.
Stop poorly flexing your stats degree on us. And
I'm not really.
Look at salty chips.
I'm absolutely not flexing because I said I'm too lazy to do this.
I did change it to poorly. So this Dark Elf team has seen better days.
Yeah, they took some damage in the last match.
Busted lineman who needs to be fired. We've got 2 movement busted linemen who you keep around because they're Raj and Blodge, but they're not the most exciting things in the world. We have a newly niggled Blodge tackle blitzer, and we have a AV7 Blodge tackle blitzer, one of which needs to be recycled. Probably the AV. I think actually on average the niggle is worse.
There's a newly minted Armor 7 lineman as well, who you probably just want to fire because a loner is better.
That, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. There's a lot of injuries to go through.
It's true.
I forgot which ones.
I just still have the perfectly healthy plus strength spicy chip.
And the Agi 6 chip.
Yes, Agi 6 chip. Not to be confused with Agi 5 chip.
Or Agi 4 chip.
Yeah, I mean, he sucks.
Or Agi 4 chip, but with fend and sidestep.
Exactly.
I don't know if anything has changed since the last time we've looked at this, but like the real strength of this team is everywhere Blodge. Like, you know, it's so annoying to deal with Raj and Blodge everywhere, let alone just on a couple people. And then there's a couple gross stat ups with the Agi, or the strength 4 Witch Elf is silly, and the Agi 6 like Cage Diver is also ridiculous.
Yep. Very strong players overall.
Yeah. Really good ball carrier.
He really, really, really wants some doubles. Like this team desperately wants some guard, some mighty blow.
Yeah, if you could get
a couple of strength skills would really flesh this out nicely. It's got the stat ups to carry really hard. It just needs a bit of loving in the like guard and
yeah, the guard would help against sort of the cage breaking style, and the mighty blow would help a lot against just the elf mirror. Really good ball carrier in the Blodge sidestep fend piece. But yeah, it's a good team. The things that they're looking for, like you said, are probably doubles, but even without them, it's going to do pretty well with all these stat ups, I think. As long as they can keep their players alive, which they're slowly sort of running out of armor. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see how this team looks like in a couple weeks.
At 90k, I think the
linemen's are 70.
Dark Elf Blitzers are 100. Yeah, 100k. So when he gets enough for a Dark Elf Blitzer, I would consider recycling number 2 or number 3.
Yeah, either the niggle or the armor. It's not you. The only downside is you're dropping to 1 tackle, so you need to make sure that you're doing that ahead of a game where you don't need the tackle. Super important, because otherwise they just have Blodge, and it's Dark Elves are only 1, or Blitzer's only 1 level away from Blodge, so it's not really that hard to get that going again.
Yeah. You wouldn't drop either player right before playing Rats, but if you were going into a Bash Mirror, I would absolutely drop it, especially because it's going to get you some inducements, which I think you could probably use at this stage, given how bloaty Dark Elves. Then we have Tetsuya's Old World Wardens, rather.
I do that all the time. You know how I feel.
Ghoul is MNG'd, hopefully not niggled. Nope, he is niggled. Rip. Agi 4, Blodge Step Ghoul, niggled. You keep them around because Agi 4 ghouls are extremely valuable.
I just rolled Agi on my ghoul in the AD English thing.
Oh, did you win that game? I stopped watching.
A blitz. I set up to prevent the 1 turn on turn 16, and then I was like, I'm really screwed if this is a riot, and then it was a riot. And he managed to score in the 2 turns. Because I got a 2 die on his ball carrier and then didn't knock him over with it. So there was like it was close. There was it was one of those games where like if 1 or 2 dice rolls were like +1 or -1, suddenly it switches totally in my favor or whatever. But yeah, it was really close. But it was I ended up losing 2-1 sadly.
Gotta say, I really like Sir Blueford the Wise. Really good player build. Mighty Blow, jump up, piling on.
Yeah,
excellent.
happen to roll them in a good way. I rolled doubles on my white as well. I was really debating taking either jump up or dodge, but with only like 3 games left in the season, it's probably not worth it because it's not a Eternal League. So just
3, aren't there? Like
4. 4.
Really? Jesus.
It's only 9 games.
Yeah, I would just take pile on or tackle.
I took Mighty Blow because he already had tackle.
Oh, okay. You went tackle first?
Yeah, because I was playing elves next. Anyway, the mummies are also good. We've seen this movement for mummy before.
The AV bust is really tough, but I guess you can't really throw away a block mummy.
Especially not a block guard movement mummy.
Yeah, but AV8 removes a lot of the reliability from a player without Thick Skull, you know?
Yeah, he has regen at least, which is a thing.
Yeah, but that doesn't keep him on the field for the drive, which is the bigger problem.
But 2 really good whites, 1 tackle guard, Agi, and then 1, like we said, the removal. Great ball carrier in Jimmy, but he's gone for a game, so we're going to have to deal with just a straight-up regular dodge ghoul, probably, for a game. So hopefully, as long as we survive that, should be fine. I hate Mr. Skeletal. I hate him so much. I love him, and I hate him. I don't know what to do.
I kind of love him.
I love the one skeleton who's dedicated for fouling, who happened to roll doubles and then took Sneaky Git. His name is also Mr. Skeletal. He's the meme fouling skeleton, but you took Sneaky Git. Why?
He's a 90k fouling piece.
Yeah.
Seems good.
I hate it. I love it, but I hate it, and I don't know which one I
hate it more than I love it, but it also makes me chuckle. Next up, we have rats.
Yeah.
Randomaximus, not Randomus Namus, who is also in this div, right?
In some.
No, he's in the other div, I think.
He's in some div.
Storm Vermin without Claw, sadly, but 2 Mighty Blow, 1 with Tackle and Piling On, which is nice.
Yeah, you just keep taking the kill skills and pray that one of them rolls Claw eventually.
Yeah.
One of them will.
They tend to recycle themselves on a regular basis anyway, so...
It's the sort of werewolf thing, right? You have two of them, and with 3 level ups on average, one of them should get a double. So you take Mighty Blow, Piling On, and Tackle on both of them, and hope one of them gets Claw at some point. Great gutter runner with the 2 heads wrestle strip. Like that's so annoying to deal with.
Yep, can cage dive relatively reliably.
And there's a backup one on the way as well.
Is only MNG, not Niggled. I don't think you need... I don't know if I like 2 wrestle strip. I feel like this should be wrestle tackle. But as like kind of a backup strip piece when you are facing a sure hand.
I mean, if strictly trying to remove the ball, I guess if they have sure hands, the tackle makes the difference, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say if they don't have sure hands,
the only reason you would do it.
Yeah, if they don't have sure hands, strip ball is just as good.
It's true. Got a blodge step piece.
A blodge piece.
Really nice. Might pick up diving tackle next. We'll see.
For more defensive
strength
use.
Thrower is nice for kind of like keeping him in the backfield and for having a bit of extra strength advantage and strength presence elsewise.
It's a pretty good way to just hold on to the ball as well. Like if you haven't given it to a gutter runner yet, block strength 4 is kind of annoying to get the ball from, especially with sure hands as well. And then wrestle dodge lineman, another wrestle piece available, and then a guard lineman because you take guard where you can on teams that need it and don't have very much strength access. Chaos. The Horn Stars 2018. Claw. It's chaos.
Yeah, this is really killy chaos. It's not how I'm going to build.
It's not crazy killy chaos because he went block first. If you were gonna go,
he went block. Yeah, but like, first of all,
if you were gonna go crazy killy chaos, you go Mighty Blow Claw block, not Mighty Blow block Claw, which is what he did.
It's true. I think he desperately needs some guard. Excuse me, on the Chaos Warriors.
Yeah, he's only got 1.
But all of them really need guard next.
They
I
will.
really like the. If you were gonna consider ditching something here, I would probably throw away Tom Wanks. Maybe you're kind of sitting on 2 killer beastmen, which you don't really need. 2 blitzing beastmen,
especially not when you also have killer Chaos Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, like you do need a higher speed.
Well,
kind of like
you do want at least one of them because then you really don't want to take piling on a Chaos Warrior.
Yeah, no, you absolutely want 1 killer beastman. I don't think you want
Some people strongly advocate it for it, and I don't really agree, but I don't know. It turns out Claw Mighty Blow piling on is incredible, but I also don't like really putting your slow strength 4 pieces on the floor.
Claw Mighty Blow is good enough for them.
It puts you so much in the kill camp, and you just don't get to play the control game anymore. But when you have like a Claw Mighty Blow piling on Beastmen, and then like a Claw Mighty Blow block, like guard tackle sort of Chaos Warriors, then they can be killers, but they also allow you to be the sort of pillars and the guard control pieces. That's why I like.
So like the problem with this build,
I like it
being like a bit heavy on the kill, is that like in the event that you're, for instance, like in a scrum with dwarves, and you have a turn where you just don't kill anything, suddenly a bunch of guard dwarves are swarming you, and everything is a red die, and you have no outs because you have a grand total of 2 guard pieces, and the dwarves are just going to like out pitch control you.
Although with 3 Claw Mighty Blow, you're probably going to remove some guard from the dwarves. Like, yeah,
probably, I'm saying on the games where that doesn't happen, you're going to have a rough time.
I agree with you in that absolutely the next thing this team needs is guard. Like any one of those Chaos Warriors that levels, their next level would be guard in my mind. But I still think this is a really good team. You also have the problem of who do you carry the ball on? I mean, you have the Blood Sure Hands guy, but you also have an Agi piece, you have a Strength 4 piece. Like all of those could be really good ball carriers.
Building the Agi into a sacker is not something I love. I think I would have gone block Sure Hands on the Agi piece, and I'd probably have fired the Blood Sure Hands piece. It depends on what order things were rolled in.
Yeah.
If he was just Blodge, then Blodge Guard is outstanding. And I think I'd probably keep him and like pick up Guard next or something like that, and just use him as a support piece.
I
want to go Frenzy on the plus strength.
Yes.
Beast.
Strength 5 on blitzes. Oh, it's so good. And then having a Frenzy Beast.
I don't think you need strength up on Frenzy pieces, especially not Frenzy pieces with horns.
I think you just want a Frenzy piece in general on Chaos, though.
Guard support pieces. I mean, you do want a Frenzy piece, 100%. I just don't know if it needs to be your plus strength piece, especially because early on he's going to be getting counter surf, and that's losing a lot of TV.
But you can 2-die strength 4 pieces and surf them.
Sure, but like, how often is a strength 4 piece standing next to the field where you couldn't just go get an assist on it? Like, I think the edge case wherein the strength is useful on the Frenzy Surf Blitz is like less likely than the case wherein the strength is a useful like support piece skill, like having strength 4 guard, imagine this team with
6 strength 4 guard. Yeah, it's really
good. Exactly. Like it's filthy, right? It's lizard men at that point, but with mutation access, and Agi 3 instead of Agi 1.
And and slightly slower but stronger, more robust ball carriers.
Right, we've been talking about this Chaos team for entirely too long.
It's a really good Chaos team, and I like it a lot. You just want more guard.
Yeah,
it's so good. I would not want to play that team. Skaven, Razzlestorm. Here we have a Claw Mighty Blow. He doesn't have piling on yet, but he has a level pending, so that easily could be piling on.
It's gonna be like, I can't imagine a skill you'd rather take.
Horns.
Like, if you doubled and you could get horns, or you could get jump up, but
it's doubles. So I mean, your options really are jump up, piling on, or horns, and I feel like you probably just want horns. Like Horns Claw Mighty Blow is incredible on this. You no longer need to dedicate your linemen or your gutter runners to providing assists. That Storm Vermin can just run around and 2-die 3 strength pieces by himself, removing them all game without any help.
I don't know.
I think I would go horns. But I think the question.
I think that's a really tough call, and I don't think there's a right answer.
I think I would go horns, but I also wouldn't hate just jump up to prepare for the piling on, and also to make him more mobile. But I probably would go horns, but also that's because horns look really cool.
They do.
Then we have.
I feel like rats have the tools to get assists when they need it. Like they're never really hurting for a spare line rat.
Yeah, but that's probably not true. Have you watched the Skaven team by like turn 14?
Yeah, but they've already lost the game by turn 14. Horns or no.
And there's also, like, you don't have to dedicate it to it, or if you do dedicate it to it, now you can 2-die strength 4 pieces really easily and remove them. Like, suddenly your matchups against lizards become way easier when you have claw, mighty blow, horns.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what your next matchups are, but like horns or jump up are both good, and it depends on what you feel like you need that player to do, I guess. Yeah, rookie thrower. We've got a pending level on a gutter runner. He's got.
I don't know what you take on Pwitik.
If it's a double, maybe 2 heads. If it's not a double, you could go strip ball to have your second sort of tackle. Well, he's got block, so maybe you want to. But you also don't have 2 sort of cage divers.
I would.
If it's just normals, probably diving tackle would be good.
Dauntless. So here's what I'm thinking. You've got the stripper for when they don't have sure hands.
I do like having 2 though.
When you're facing a Blodge sure hands ball carrier, which is not that uncommon. It's nice to have a like block tackle. I think it would be better if it was wrestle tackle dauntless, but like at least an easy way to get a 1-die wherein it's a 4+ to take the ball away. It's only a 4+ with wrestle. It's a 5+
because it's block. Like maybe it's less good because if you're in the situation where you want the dauntless you want to use the dauntless piece rather than the strip ball piece, you like the block doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I think if it was wrestle, I would consider dauntless here, but I don't know what you take it once it's block. This is kind of why you often see rats go half wrestle, half block, is to kind of like build 2 sackers and build a ball carrier / lodge safety kind of like.
Take my advice with a grain of salt because I don't play rats, but I like having 2 sort of dedicated, safety, a ball hawk, whatever you want to call it, cage diving sort of pieces. Because one tends to go off the field and then you have another one available, but you sort of have 2 because you also have the Agi 5 leap player and you have the strip ball guy. Like he could go strip ball next instead, and so maybe you want to.
The Agi 5 I think guy is going to go something like sure hands, and he's going to be the recovery piece because rats often need to recover in like 1,000 tackle zones. I wouldn't hate just Millie grabbing sure hands. And then
or big hand, if he can grab it, if he can get a hold of it, would be incredible.
Big hand isn't bad. I also don't hate turning him into the 1-turner with like sprint sure.
I guess the biggest question here is what do you do with Pwitik? And I don't know. There's a lot of good answers. Dauntless potentially. Rex Longbone is saying sidestep. Sidestep is a good shot. You could go strip ball if you want another sort of potential ball hawk type player. There's a lot, like it depends on how you want to play them.
I agree with Rex that I don't like diving tackle without sidestep. I've done it with lizards and it's just not that useful. It forces them to commit the blitz, but that's often not enough. So next up is Superfed, who took quite a pounding. Wink. Oof.
He lost 400 KTV, it looks like.
Yep.
Or like some of them are MNGs, but yeah.
Toad of Toad Hall, which is a player he picked up off the market, is movement busted.
Team Squirt is just MNG'd.
That's good, because Team Squirt is a really good player.
And Happy Tugs is armor busted, so he's now armor 6.
He's done.
An armor 6 wrestle piece? No, because he's probably going to be on the floor a lot, and he's such a target for fouls then.
In the VIP he has wrestle grab. Is that for 1-turns?
Grab helps the 1-turns.
That is a bizarre doubles choice.
Yeah, I mean, he already has enough guard. Maybe he just was like...
There is no such thing as enough guard. Don't you ever say that filthy shit on my screen.
He has 5 guard on like an Agi team. That's ridiculous.
I mean, they have 4 strength access players, so it's not that ridiculous.
And they have... I guess they have 4, but only 2 of them have guard.
It's true.
I don't really know. I don't know what the grab is, but I mean, I don't play Kislev, so maybe he knows something that I don't.
I would agree that Agi 5 big hand is probably not a thing you need.
It depends on how many tackle zones there are, I guess, but I guess the cases where it's worth it over not worth it are probably pretty rare.
That's also big hand is a double, so like at that point you're passing up some more juicy things.
I mean, yeah, you can set up weird serfs with grab and stuff, but the thing is, he also has wrestle, right? Like, cool, I've knocked you down, I've knocked myself down, and I can put you in a different place. Like the wrestle grab is a weird combo to me, but it might be just because I want to grab and he happened to roll doubles, right? Is the thing.
I guess.
But there's a lot of really good players here. We haven't seen. I like how we finally have kick, but it's on a catcher as his 4th skill, which is
but he's the the blodge guard. He's fine.
No, it's fine. It's just funny that like normally you see kick as like a 1st skill in alignment. It's like, nah, I've got 4th skill on a catcher. It's fine.
Yeah, it's pretty silly. So he'll be going into his next game down a ton of TV. But all of it is catcher, so like he'll still have all of his blitzers, which is nice. So he's gonna have a lot of his punching power. He just won't have as much of his like agility, elfy nonsense.
But yeah, I mean Kislev, like the catchers are stars for the Kislev though, right? Because like you have leap everywhere, but this is Agi 4 long legs leap, which is like the most reliable you can get leap to be, and only having one available is a little rough.
It's a very good one.
It is a very good one, but like the stars of the Kislev team are the catchers really, and the blitzers to a lesser extent. But
Team Squirt is definitely his best player, like a movement 8 blodge catch player is just so valuable.
I mean, it's not a fair comparison, I guess, but imagine playing like Skaven with only having one gutter runner. Like, yeah, the gutter runner is still really good, but having more is way better, and it's going to be annoying to be missing some.
Yes, it's definitely going to be a sad next game. We'll have to see who he's playing. Then we have Sugar and Spikes, Weeknight Wizards, Orcs. Bunch of guard.
Good.
A lot of guard blitzers. I've talked about this before. Blitzer guard is good, but it's not as good as Black Orc guard. Turns out guard on strength 4 is better than guard on strength 3.
Is Ginger new? Nope, he's not new. He's played 4 matches. He just hasn't gotten any SPP yet, which is unfortunate.
When you hire rookies with no skills, it's hard to justify taking blocks on them early in a turn.
Yep,
it's not surprising that he's not really picking up a lot of SPP.
Yeah, it's a big problem with Orcs. Once several of your Black Orcs get blocked, they're the ones who do all the blocking, and then the ones who don't have block don't do blocking, and then they don't get injuries, and then they don't get SPP. Lodge Thrower is fun.
You've got to be in a pretty dominant game state to manage
Buy a
Black
Goblin.
Orc touchdown. No, well,
you have a
fire
troll.
The troll is what I'd actually just say.
You have a troll. If you have it, there's no reason to have a troll and not have a goblin. You either get rid of the troll or buy a goblin. You have to burn money anyway. Just buy a goblin. Give yourself the 1-turn option. At least you have it.
No, I'm strongly in camp. Fire the troll. The throw teammate 1-turn from Orcs is the hardest thing. Would not.
It's equally as hard on goblins.
Sure, but goblins have 2 trolls, so then it's much more likely to get one with like strong arm, right? Like you can prioritize getting one with strong arm on goblins at least.
I suppose that's true. No, I think trolls are fine. I've never played orcs with a troll, but that's just never been. I'd never start with one, and I've never gotten to the point where I can afford to buy one because I keep having to replace players. I think trolls are fine. It's another guard piece. It's strength 5, but if you have a troll, have a goblin. Some people advocate for no troll. It's just kind of how you want to play it.
You don't need a troll.
You don't need a troll, but I think it's fine. But if you have a troll, have a goblin. Especially since you need to burn money. Like, you have to spend money. Just buy a goblin. Yield guard and Yayo get Nurlge. They got crunched pretty hard by the chaos last time, but it seems that the only permanents they took were on rotters, so who cares?
Truth.
Miss next game on a rotter, and I presume that's also a miss next game on a rotter. Otherwise he wouldn't be around. No, it's a double miss next game, but still that's only one miss next game.
That was the one who got the MVP.
Beast is close to getting stand firm, a touchdown or an MVP or 2 Kazas. And you have the guard stand firm piece, which is excellent.
They took a dead Nurgle warrior. The Nurgle warrior.
That's unfortunate. Same problem with Black Orcs, right? Is that he's going to be the last one to make blocks because he doesn't have block, and therefore it's hard to level him up.
Yeah, but he's a 110k player who does absolutely fucking nothing.
He has strength 4. I mean, for now, you sort of put him in the way and be like, look, here's the strength 4 piece, but he's going to be annoying until you get an MVP and a Kaz or something on him.
I mean, he is literally a black orc with 4 useless skills, and then he costs.
Regen is not useless, and Disturbing Presence and Foul Appearance are not useless. They're just not skills that you would ever take.
They're useless at level 0 or level 1, rather.
They're mostly useless at level 1.
So yeah, not a lot of development. Not surprising that they got crushed by that Chaos team.
Yeah.
No Claw, losing to 4 or 5 Claw. It's not terribly surprising.
It's Nurgle. They're still in the low, like, they're 1480, but that's still low TV for Nurgle, honestly. They need
1480 with like 10 players. Yes.
Yeah, you need this team needs more development, but it's on the way, right? It's got block tackle, it's got block mighty blow, right? Like, and all the Nurgle warriors are close, right? Dirge is 3 away, Undying is 4 away, Lord Doggo is 9 away, which isn't really that close, but the other 2 are close. So you need some guard, and you probably want a Claw mighty blow at some point. Like, Undying will probably take Claw, Dirge will probably take guard when they level up. Because you need some more guard, and you need like a Claw Mighty Blow somewhere, and then you've got a good ball carrier in the Pestigore, and you've got a good sacker in the other Pestigore. Paprika is on his way to being a killer player once you get some more levels. On the way to being a really good team, but like we're maybe 3 or 4 levels away from it being like a truly scary Nurgle team.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully they do not get too pummeled in the meantime.
Stump
Next up,
Force.
we have Stump Force, which have a Death Roller, and therefore are my favorite.
A block Death Roller.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
There's the Strength 4 Longbeard that we saw, so now he's a guard Strength 4 piece who's incredibly annoying.
Strength up on a team that does not have any Strength 4 access is incredibly good.
Yeah, the closest they get are Troll Slayers.
Overstated. Yeah, it cannot be overstated how much better Dwarves are with a couple of Strength ups.
For several reasons, even just like easier blocks because you end up in big scrums. So having the Strength 4 where you need less assists to hit stuff is great, but also having the guard.
In a lot of ways, a block guard Strength 4 piece is similar to 2 block guard Strength 3 pieces, so it almost doubles the value of a Longbeard.
Dwarves want to get into that big scrum, and it's so much easier to hit stuff in that big scrum if you don't need to rely on the assists of other players. And also, when it's your opponent's turn, you're harder to knock down, and you're a guard piece, so you get to be super annoying in that way, which is really handy.
I still don't love the Blodge Troll Slayer, but I think I said that last time, so I'll stop beating that drum. Good-looking team.
The leader runner means we could probably drop a reroll if he wants to save some TV here.
Oh, not probably, definitely. Like, what are you rerolling? You've got sure hands.
GFIs and double skulls.
Yeah, GFI's double skulls and the occasional dwarf dodge. I would have liked Raraz to pick up Wrestle over block. I think having a Wrestle tackle runner is nice. Dwarves can really use a sacking piece that's a little faster.
I think keeping the reroll is fine for now. It gives you I wouldn't just instantly get rid of it. It's you have the option though, right? It turns out dwarf inducements really aren't amazing. Like, what are you gonna do? Babes? Great. Like, I already have thick skull.
Yeah, but the issue is you're giving away.
Well, that was the next point. Was gonna be if it comes to the point where you're giving away inducements, you have a really easy 100k to just drop and not have to worry about. Well, so like, 100k for the reroll.
Rerolls. The TV value is half of the reroll cost.
Oh, okay, well, right. But you have a really easy 50k you can drop. So, right, as long as you're not giving away like a wizard or whatever, I think it's fine to hold on to. But if you ever run into a match where it's like dropping 50k makes a big difference, then you have a really easy 50k you can drop. So it's probably pretty good. Or if you can drop 50k to get yourself a bribe or whatever, because you do have the death roller, that might be reasonable as well. Yeah, and then some guard, some mighty blow. We'll see more guard, we'll see more mighty blow, we'll see more stand firm dwarves. Dr. Spagooters.
A match report just came in from 10H, wherein dwarves fought chaos, and dwarves had 3 dead players and a minus movement.
Ouch.
Yeah. Dead runner, dead blocker. Minus movement on a blocker is effectively dead, and dead troll slayer. Yeah. Even most of them are even positionals. That's fucking brutal.
Awful. That is a niggled white, but he has plus strength mighty blow. He's a target.
Yep.
He's not he's not an incredibly easy to punch target because he is strength 4 block, but you just want to be careful with him.
Yep, and this is the newly minted block mummy, who
excellent.
The Doctor's Magooters is definitely good.
We have a Blodge Step Ghoul, a Raj Guard Ghoul, a Blodge Guard Ghoul. Like, those are good ghouls. You have the Raj available. You have some guard that you can use, extra guard, so you can really focus those whites on just killing stuff. Because you have guard on the ghouls, you can get guard on the mummies really easily. Tackle white, a couple block zombies. You might have considered a dirty player, or I think one of those should have been a dirty player, unless you lost one recently. Maybe kick or maybe wrestle could have been other considerations there as well. But block zombies are just extra annoying to drop on people and be like, here you go, play with this zombie. I don't care about him. And he's suddenly slightly more annoying to push off the valuable player he's tying up, being block. But wrestle, kick, and dirty player are all other ones you should consider on zombies as well. Shall we?
Sure.
Ogres.
My favorite team.
Jimmy Leftfoot is still a monster with strength 6, agi 3.
Yeah, I mean, I just finished playing a clan league game against Ogres. Jesus, how do you have 2 rerolls? What the fuck? And I will say that 6 ogre teams with skills, harder to fight than I thought. You don't get to punch many Noblars because you just have ogres in your face constantly.
And there's only 5 Noblars.
Yes. 0 bench and 2 rerolls, living on the edge.
That's the big strength. Like, that's what people will say about ogres, is that, like, you know, there's just sometimes that much strength is so hard to deal with. So some people, it's actually not terrible to be like the 6 or 5 ogre or whatever, 0 reroll 1000 TV start. Because at 1000 TV, who the hell can deal with 6 strength 5 pieces? Even if they fail some things sometimes, that's annoying.
They're gonna fail all the things all of the times because ogres are the worst team in this game. But yes,
debatable between ogres and like halflings, but yeah,
I think we've had this discussion before. But ogres lose more games anyway. Yeah, I mean, like, they're really solid ogres. Jimmy Leftfoot is disgusting at strength 6, agi 3, juggernaut.
And break tackle.
Oh, and break tackle, of course.
He can cage dive really easily.
Cage dive on a 3+,
and then
a standard cage,
and then 2 die the ball carrier on a standard cage.
Yes, with no assists.
Yep.
And 2 negative assists. So
a guard block ogre is super annoying, especially when he can break tackle places. Having 1 piling on ogre is fine. Normally, I'd like advocate against putting your strength pieces on the ground, but when you have 6 of them, just having the mighty blow piling on turns out is really handy.
Just for a bit of damage potential, I think that makes sense.
I
like the block guard break tackle piece, like just kind of a really good support piece.
And a blodge step diving tackle Noblar, super annoying. Even though most people will get 3 dies on it unassisted. It's still, they need to get that POW, I guess.
Yeah, man. I mean,
I love this team. I want to watch more One Punch Ogre games. I love this ogre team so much. A, because it's ogres, and B, because those ogres are stupid.
I promise you, we will watch one of their games before the season is up. I swear to God.
Then we have Crypt Lords 2 Boogaloo, Red Beard, the Necro team. We have a Claw Mighty Blow Wolf, excellent, and we have a Block Wolf. So the wolves. Now you enter the good fun part of Necro, where your flesh golems have picked up block and your werewolves have picked up block, so suddenly your blitzes are not terrifying anymore.
Yeah, for sure. This is the team we expected to beat the Lizards, and looking back at this, I stand by my statement. I think this team probably should have beaten those Lizards, but it seems like they had some rough armor dice that kind of made that tough.
Yeah, if that Claw Mighty Blow, if that Mighty Blow Werewolf went out early, suddenly things flip pretty hard in favor of the Lizards. Honestly, like, he's such a scary piece to the Lizards. If they can get rid of him, it's really handy for them.
For sure.
Nice white, or 2 nice whites. One is Blodge Guard, so he's a good support piece. It's way more mobile than the flesh golems are. They will get guard eventually as well, but for now, having them on the whites is super handy. You're probably going to pick it up earlier on whites on Necro than you would on Undead, because you don't have the mummies, and the flesh golems really want block first.
Yep, no, it's a really solid looking Necro team. It's really close to being even more gross as the flesh golems, like you said, pick up guard.
Yeah, and then
really
yeah, and then those wights will start to be able to pick up Mighty Blow as well. The ghoul, the strength 4 blodge ghoul is an incredible ball carrier. He'll just get sure hands next and be really annoying. Like Rip trying to cage dive that, being surrounded by, you know, wights, flesh golems, and being strength 4. One or two more. There's only one tackle, which is potentially a weakness, but tackle on another wight, maybe tackle on one of the werewolves, sure hands on that ghoul, and you know, two or three more levels in this team is not one that I'd ever want to play. And we have some lizard men.
Yep. Still sitting on 4 rerolls. Would not recommend. There's a lot of 1 in 9 potential for this lizard team, but I think it's past time you ditch it. I would also fire to Hexalat. You don't need 2 catch skinks, and the catch sidestep one is good for 1 turning anyway.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, in that he has a lot of TV, and a lot of it is sort of invested in skinks, and it's probably not worth having a bench of 2 for that matter. So dropping one of the, we've talked about this last week, but drop one of the catch skinks, the one that isn't sidestep as well, and then A, it solves your bench too many bench, and B, it cuts down, you know, 80k TV. You just need more Saurus levels. You know,
yep.
Lizards are annoying until you can get some block on those Saurus, and only having 3 and one of them being out for next game is unpleasant. But once you can get that rolling, things will be way better for you.
For sure. Rough go losing the block tackle one for a game, but you had a really good game, a surprisingly good game versus the Necro. You picked up guard on Kai,
yep,
which is a nice pickup for sure. I would look to get some Mighty Blow after you get block going on a couple of these. The dodge one is obviously going to go guard, blodge guard, stand firm, or blodge guard, break tackle.
Oh, he's so
really
close.
Excellent.
He needs 2 SPP, and then he's blodge, and then suddenly he's not bad anymore.
Want to know how long my Saurus was at 14 to 16 with only dodge?
Like 2 seasons.
Turns out Saurus are not good at getting SPP. But yeah.
All Bark and No Bite by David Leclerc. Got the Wood Elves.
1500 TV, so didn't lose too much to the Ogres, it looks like.
Nope. And we still have he didn't I don't think he lost anything serious. There's I think an MNG on a lineman. Yeah. But there was a lot of badly hurts and stuff that kept his players out of the game. No strip ball is certainly something that hurt him, I think, in the matchup against the Ogres. He had to do a lot of sort of uphilling.
Yeah, it's strange to have gone tackle on both war dances first. The Mighty Blow piling on is cute, and I think it's good for the Elf Mirror, and you kind of don't use it otherwise. But
yeah, it's so good in the Elf Mirror, but in the non-Elf Mirror, you don't want him on the floor.
Right, but Walnut, I feel, absolutely should have gone strip ball over tackle first.
Yeah, I think so. But he's only 2 away, and it turns out that's pretty easy to get as elves. Maybe it would have made his last game easier, but within his next couple of games, things should go a lot better for him. Adia is an incredible defensive catcher. That's so frustrating.
Yeah, for sure.
Blodge step, diving tackle, fend, and guard. Like, let's take all the annoying skills. Oh wait, we got a double too. Awesome. Like, that's such an incredibly annoying catcher.
Considering it's played 57 games. This player, or 59 games. This player has somehow survived 59 matches.
He is incredible. Guard tree to help with the 1-turns. Grab tree. I was thinking about guard because it's the other skill you take on trees, but grab is probably the better first choice on Wood Elves. Then we've got.
They don't need it as a pillar support as often. Like, it just turns out they're not really in a scrum very often around their tree. Their tree tends to be kind of isolated with a couple of players on it.
Yeah, and it just or it's like you put it on a corner and you can kind of hide behind it. Either way, the guard doesn't really help. It will help eventually because it's one of the only places you can get guard, but grab is probably better to start with. Double Agi lineman opens up a lot of possibilities for, you know, ball recovery, passing, catching, etc. without the thrower available. Strength 4 lineman is also going to be really annoying. He'll become a good blitzer or a good, if you can roll guard on him, he'd also be really annoying. And then some dodge thrown in and about. You probably want to pick up a kick somewhere if you can get one. And yeah, strip ball and one of those war dancers would be real handy. And probably want to consider buying another catcher or a thrower at some point in the near future. Most Wood Elves teams won't start with a thrower, but once you start to get some development on catchers and stuff, you can afford to use the thrower, and it might be worth picking up one soon. And that is all of the teams for Div 7. So shall we look at predicting things?
Yeah.
Old World Wardens. It's so hard to say. Versus the Horn Stars. I mean, the Undead are going to get like 300k in inducements here, but there's a lot of Claw and a lot of Mighty Blow on the Chaos side. So my inclination is Chaos here.
Yeah, I mean, one of the major reasons that Undead lose out late game is that they just can't stack up against teams with better skill access. So
better bash teams, yeah. They're a bash team that will lose to better bash teams late game. I think
revenge of the chaos this time around this TV. So I agree. Chaos one.
The good news for the Undead is that they have a massive bench. So like if they just lose zombies, they're probably in reasonable shape.
And they can do a good amount of fouling if the claws are not firing. So
yeah, so like it's not
hopeless, but it's going to be an uphill fight. Certainly.
Yeah, I would agree, especially without your dedicated ball carrier available for that match. You don't have that crazy good ghoul to help out. But you
next up is a rat off.
You will get some inducements, but yeah, Squeaky Blinders and Rats against Teen Stars. Oh man, I'm already interested in watching the rat off.
Rat offs. Both have good sackers. The Rats against Teen Stars the Squeaky Blinders have the better ball carrier and the plus strength guy, who is they both have sure hands, of course. So it's not the sackers aren't as useful in this case. But.
Man, I have no idea. I was gonna say one team has Claw, but that's kind of irrelevant when they're armor 7.
Yep. It's only relevant against Storm Vermin. In fact, the piling on is
better, yeah.
Especially because it's tackle Mighty Blow piling on. It's going to be insane for causing damage.
This is weird. It's so weird. I think my, like, just straight up based on the player skill, or like the player's skills. I don't mean player skill, like coach skill. I mean the player's skills. I want to give this to the Squeaky Blinders because it turns out the strength 4 sure hands, if you just keep the ball on him and like do the anti-Skaven thing and like grind your way up the pitch rather than just score instantly, it's going to be really hard for Razzle Storm to get the ball off the strength 4 sure hands. And then you have the sort of quote removal advantage in the Mighty Blow piling on dude.
Yeah, so the other thing that's worth noting is the Squeaky Blinders are going to get a wizard but have no bench. So Razzle Storm is going to have to flex his fouling and really try to cause a numbers advantage if he wants to get a win here.
Yeah,
so there's going to be Rats facing down a lightning bolt.
It's such a weird game.
Unless he causes removals, he's going to have a really terrible time. Well, that said, Harry Styles is probably going to... Oh, right, Harry Styles is a double. We were discussing this. Piling on gets a lot more attractive in this matchup. That said, you don't have tackle to go with it, so it's a bit less useful.
And then you're missing out on the double, and that could help for later games rather than this one in particular.
Yeah, that's tough. Ask a better Skaven coach than me.
It's such a weird game. Like Razzle Storm has like a better Agi Skaven team, but like the quote bash like sort of game is going to be more in Rando Maximus's favor with the piling on and the strength 4 thrower. Like that strength 4 thrower is massive. If he goes out ever, then he probably just loses. But that strength 4 sure hands thrower makes it so hard for Razzle Storm to get the ball off of him with like a cage dive or whatever, because he's going to be uphill basically no matter what he does, and sure hands means the strip ball is useless.
Yep. So that was a loquacious way of saying we both think that Rando Maximus is the favorite here, but it's going to be a really good game to watch.
Yeah, and if the Rats against Teen Stars can take out that thrower in some way, whether it be a blitz or a foul or whatever, suddenly it flips real hard.
Then we have Salty Chips versus Kislev.
This is going to be another one to watch.
Yeah, so remember how we were talking about the Kislev, or the Dark Elves really wanting some Mighty Blow? This is the kind of matchup where they'd really want some Mighty Blow.
Yep.
This is the kind of matchup where Superfed would really like to have his Agi pieces.
Yep, he's not gonna have his catchers available, but he's gonna have the Mighty Blow Blitzer, and
he's got one tackle in Captain Stabbin, and if Captain Stabbin goes down, the ship goes down with him.
Yeah, the other he's gonna be surprisingly safe even from that Agi 6 because of all the guard. Like if you just put guard on the corners, even the
and he's got diving tackle, Kappa.
Yeah,
it's a 2+ for the 6 for the. Well, I mean, it's not a 2+ if it's on the corner, but if he's dodging out, it's a 2+.
I mean, like the if you just put guards on the corners, even if he tries to cage dive with like the Agi 6, sure, the dodge is fine, but the block is going to be uphill regardless.
Doesn't have sure hands though. Neither player has sure hands.
Does the Agi 6 have strip?
Doesn't he, or is he only wrestle?
No, he's wrestle.
I'm thinking of a different team.
Yeah, this is hard.
Superfed actually does have a strip ball player, so he's going to be able to take the ball off of the Wood Elves or the Dark Elves who do not have a sure hands player. So
well, Dark Elves generally won't.
You sometimes will pick it up on a blitzer, but
not very often. Right. A lot of the times, Agi 4 teams just won't bother because you don't need the built-in reroll really. At least not over other skills like Blodge or whatever. This is really hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Who I want to win. Who I think is going to win, I should say.
So how much are Kislev Blitzer or lineman? Because he gets 60k. So they're 120, so that puts him at 1630. So he's actually slightly higher.
It's basically no inducements. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Superfed, but if Angry can take out Captain Stabbin, which might be hard because armor 8, no actual Mighty Blow, then things could be bad. But I think Captain Stabbin is going to run around and murder some elves. The strip ball is going to be good, and if he's careful with his cage and stuff, it's going to be hard for the Dark Elves to even get it off him in the first place.
Yeah. This is the game where Superfed is really sad to be down his other dodge players, given that the Dark Elves only have one.
Yeah, if he had the other catchers, it would be way more in his favor. But I think right now it's close. But I'm gonna go Superfed.
Agreed. All bark, no bite. So this is Orc versus Wood Elves. Traditionally a matchup that heavily favors Orcs. Let's take a look.
Depends on how much tackle he has, really.
He has 1. It's actually more about the Mighty Blow, weirdly enough. Wood Elves just lose to attrition because the sure hands makes it much tougher for Wood Elves to take the ball off of the thrower. Yep. That said...
Also, it turns out David doesn't have any strip balls, so the sure hand is irrelevant.
But he does have tackle, so the blodge is fairly useless.
There's one Mighty Blow piling on tackle, which is huge. There's one Mighty Blow...
there's 2 because of the troll too. So he's gonna get 3 Mighty Blow LOS hits probably.
2.
2 and then the blitz because the tree is obviously not gonna get Mighty Blowed if blocked at all.
Yeah. Wood Elves can always do Wood Elf things, and it's not impossible to you can never count out Wood Elves basically against any team. But one guard. The Mighty Blow piling on War Dancer is going to be mostly useless in this matchup. It's armor 9. It certainly will not be bad, but if you ever pile on with him, he's going to get kicked in the face.
Yeah, I don't think the Mighty Blow piling on is giving you a lot of value versus Orcs.
No, armor 9, it's making him. You're probably going to get some stuns out of it more than you normally would, but I'm gonna go with Orc in this one. There's only if. It's not crazy, I don't think. If there was more Mighty Blow on the side of the Orcs, maybe if there was another Mighty Blow tackle, or if there was maybe just 3 or 4, if all of the Blitzers had Mighty Blow, 100% Orcs. But
yeah, I think this is 60-40
Orc. Orcs. Yeah. Wood Elves, you can't ever count Wood Elves out, but I think it's going to be. They're not as efficient as they could be against Orcs, certainly.
Now we have Lizards versus Nurlge. Not traditionally a great matchup for Nurlge at this team.
Yeah, because there's no claw for the Nurlge are going to have a really rough time unless they can remove Lizards, and they're just not going to. with one with only 2 Mighty Blow. They do have a Wrestle Tackle Pestigore who can do a thing against skinks, but if the lizards are playing well,
surprisingly enough, yeah.
But if they don't have, if the lizards are good about preventing blocks against the lizards, then or against the skinks, then it's going to be hard.
If ever there was a game to ditch TV, it was this one, lizards. So, ditch that reroll, ditch that skink.
And you get 120.
You save. No, I mean if you ditch ditch the reroll, you get 60, and if you ditch the skink, you get 80.
If you ditch the catch one, 140.
And then you have no bench, and you're down a Saurus, but at least you know you're not giving away inducements to the Nurgle. It's going to actually be a tough game for the lizards down a skink or down a Saurus.
It is. Let's see. The Saurus have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's five Saurus against sort of 4 Nurgle warriors. The Nurgle warriors basically all have block. Well, there's one on each side that doesn't have it. This is hard. If there was slightly more block on the side of the lizards, I'd give this to lizards all the time. But because of the specific situation where he's down a Saurus and most of them don't have block, it suddenly becomes a lot more difficult.
So what are you thinking?
Let's go... Somehow I don't think Glomar is going to watch this and take our advice to drop the reroll in the skink, and therefore he's going to give away inducements to the Nurgle, and then I think the Nurgle will win.
Cool. I agree. I kind of wanted to make a contentious pick, but I...
Can't?
No, fuck it, whatever. Who cares? It's just points. I'll pick lizards, and you can pick Nurgle. We'll, like, divide on our old...
The old rivalry. Team. Crypt Lords 2, and you'll see a lot of stat freaks in REBBL. Well, because it's an Eternal League, so the players that get stats stick around. Not so much in these divisions because they're the lower divisions, but like if you look at Div 1 teams, there are a lot of stats.
Hey, look, the Death Roller will finally be relevant in a game.
Is it? Because we have
Force versus Undead, I think. Crypt Lords 2, or no, Necro.
Mm-hmm.
This is a terrible matchup for Necro normally. Dwarves, before Necro can get that guard advantage, tend to beat the living hell out of Necro. They do have the Claw Mighty Blow, but without, like, Frenzy is a huge liability in this case.
There's 4 guard, so it's going to be pretty easy to set up Frenzy traps. There's only 2 guard for the... There's 2 guard for the Necro. I say only 2 guard. 2 guard isn't terrible. But, yeah... Oh, on the Wood Elf team? Yeah. There's Agi strength. That is not the grossest Wood Elf team we've seen, though. Some of the clan Wood Elf teams are really dumb. Strength 5 Ward Answer, anyone? The 2 guard is useful, but I think just like the block, I think the Death Roller is actually going to be kind of useful here as well. I want to go Dwarves.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem the Dwarves could have is if they face some early attrition, because they do not technically have a bench after the Death Roller is gone.
That's true.
That said, I want to go Dwarves.
It relies on the Claw Mighty Blow Wolf doing a thing, and he might not always. If the Dwarves are careful and make sure that the Claw Mighty Blow Wolf doesn't have great blitzes, or if he does, it's at least a Frenzy Trap, we can probably get him on the floor. We can probably hit him with the Death Roller. We can probably start fouling with the Death Roller by, like, you know, turn 6, 7, 8 of half 1 or whatever half you're on the drive. Because he is Dirty Player and he's going to get sent off anyway. I think the Dwarves. One Punch Ogre and the Mordheim Cryptors. Ugh, dude, can these stupid ogres? You want to see some stat freaks? Look at these stupid ogres. Look at this monster. It's a strength 6 Agi 3 ogre.
I mean, this game is 100% going to the Undead.
You say that. We thought it was 100% going to the Wood Elves, then the ogres won.
Fine. You want to back the ogres?
Yes.
You want to back Gypsy Prince?
I'm gonna back the ogres. I'm gonna back Gypsy Prince. Go ogres.
All right, Gypsy Prince. You heard it here first. Ben believes in you.
You got it.
I believe you should buy some rerolls.
Go Ogres! Oh man, I'm very pleased. I'm predicting the Ogres. I don't care. I'm predicting the Ogres forever. Yeah, you've got the stake curse now. I've predicted you. You're gonna lose. That's how it happens. So shall we go take a look at 6?
Yes, I don't want to be here all night. It's already 10 o'clock.
It is already. Okay. So, results. One game has already been played somehow?
Jesus. Fucking JJ Cash and
and Schuttenheim being
fucking
tryhards.
cheater bastards. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
With the
Undead versus Rat. I predicted Undead.
I predicted Skaven, and we tied. So,
yep.
Nothing to go there. Similar ball possessions, way more blocks for the Undead, but that's not surprising. 8 casualties sustained by the Skaven, so I think that covers it right there. Skaven were unable to score enough before they lost players, and therefore could not.
The sort of tie Undead are pretty happy with, given that they earned a grand total of 10, 14, 16, 17, 21 SP.
Yep. Then we have the Boss Hog Outlaws and Starry Fight, where we had Chorf versus Dwarf. We both predicted Dwarfs would take this, and we were wrong.
Did I predict the... Oh yeah, I did. What the hell was I smoking? I'm sure there was a reason why I predicted.
I mean, I thought it was going to be close. If I recall correctly, I said like this could easily go either way if the Chorfs happen to get removals, but I think like it was like a 60-40 Dwarf thing, and it looks like it went the 40 thing.
Oh yeah, and I was like, I believe in Rumblebee. That was a mistake.
You shouldn't believe in Rumblebee. Don't ever.
Rumblebee lost a game wherein the Chorfs did 56 blocks and got 0 removals.
Yep.
Ejected from REBBL.
Just for future reference, we should never bet on Rumblebee. Is like that's just a thing we should have learned by now.
Oh, he's not even in chat anymore.
Ah, God. Well, he'll watch it later.
He
maybe.
To say hello, and then he ran away like a bitch.
He got an injury and a KO or 2 KOs. Sustained 0 and managed to lose 2-1 to the Chorfs. And that's the thing. I mean, it turns out Bull Centaurs can be kind of annoying for Dwarves to deal with if they can get the ball in their hands and run away. They're fast and they're annoying for Dwarves to knock down. But like, if you can manage to pull the Chorfs into a scrum, which they kind of want to do for the most part, you'll probably win if they don't get removals, and they didn't. So who knows? 50 points from Rumblebee. Greenskin Brawlers versus the Snake Kitties. So I predicted the Orcs and you predicted the Lizards. Boom, I win.
You did it. You got a point.
And so that puts us dead even so far, because that happened exactly once in the other division. So let's see. So we got, it looks like the Orcs controlled it for the most part. They had the ball for the most of the time. They outblocked the Lizards. They out-removed the hell out of the Lizards with 7 casualties and 3 KOs and a death.
It looks like the Lizards just got the crap kicked out of them. They inflicted 0 injuries to 5. Jesus.
Yeah, and on top of that, the piling on Mighty Blow Tackle Blitzer also got MVP. So he's got Pro now.
Yeah, he earned 9 SPP that game.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Good
Looks
game.
like the
Good game
Orcs
for the Orcs.
might have diced the Lizards a little bit.
Little unfortunate for the Lizards. It always sucks when you finish a game and literally only get MVP for SPP. Like, that feels so bad. But good for the Orcs. I mean, they certainly did well. They failed a lot of catches, but everything else was good, so it's hard to complain.
Yeah, 82% on armor rolls for the Orcs. Looking good. I mean, if there's no Mighty Blow on the Lizards, that's about average. So.
Then we have High Elf versus Human. We both predicted Human for this one, and we were both wrong.
Yeah, crushing it.
2-0. Helmet picked up for the Humans and getting MVP, but also an injury. So I imagine that he just got punched early and fell down and did nothing, and then ate MVP like an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, the High Elves aggressively outpunched the Humans, inflicting 3 KOs and 4 injuries. Yeah. Not how you expect that matchup to go.
No.
High Elves got 7, 9, 11, 14, 18, 26, 28 SPP. Jesus Christ.
That is a good game. Good game for
Nine-
the High Elves.
9.
The High Elves only had to roll 5 dodges in the entire match.
It looks like the humans got annihilated, and then the High Elves made 9 vanity.
Oh my god. So the chainsaw rolled exactly once and failed. So he...
Good chainsaw. This is why I don't recommend inducing chainsaws usually.
He bought a chainsaw, it instantly failed, and probably sent him off the pitch. Oh god, that's gotta be a rage-inducing game for the humans. I feel bad for them.
Yep, and then we have humans versus lizards. I predicted the humans.
Humans versus lizards? Where is this? I also predicted the humans.
And it was a tie, so no points for us yet.
Nope.
No points for me yet.
You're minus points for you yet.
I mean, you are also minus points for you.
From REL 7, yeah.
You have less minus points.
So we get a 1-1 tie, MVP going to the dirty player lineman and to the loner skink, which is kind of unfortunate. Let's look.
Did he get bought? Nope, he did not get bought. So
Similar
MVP.
amounts of removals on both sides, but way more blocks for the humans. So probably a case of humans, pushing around the lizards a little bit, but the lizards able to, use skinks and their speed to find a touchdown somewhere.
Lizards committed almost twice as many blocks.
Did I look at it backwards?
Yes. The lizards did 51 blocks to the 24.
Oh, I did, yes. So I read that backwards.
Humans get aggressively outpunched by lizards, but
other way around.
They have to play like elves.
Yeah, and they did. This is JJ Cash's team, who have crazy stat ups, so they're very good at being elves.
It also looks like JJ got pretty lucky on the Kaz dice. He got 6 armor breaks on 24 blocks and got 2 KOs and 2 injuries. So
that is pretty lucky.
While the lizards got 15 breaks and got a grand total of 4 KOs and 2 injuries. So JJ getting a bit lucky on the removals.
Probably tried to out elf or tried to elf the lizards a bit and just couldn't quite do it with the removals that occurred and stuff. Make it a 1-1.
Though it did look like JJ Cash's armor was non-existent that game, so maybe a bit of.
There was also 2 loner fails on the human high elf game. One of them might have just been the chainsaw. I imagine it was the chainsaw fail, loner fail, and then he just like, fuck, I hate everything.
Killed himself. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Common Nightmares and Hausdorff Homewreckers. We both predicted the Necro to win this, but it was a tie again because we're not good at this.
Hausdorff's Homewreckers got 25 fucking armor breaks, 8 KOs, 4 injuries, 1 kill.
29 successful blocks and 25 armor breaks.
That's a lot of fouls, probably.
8 KOs, 4 injuries, and a kill.
Considering they had 9 KOs sustained and 6 Kazs sustained, and that doesn't count in the inflicted columns. It looks like the Chorfs pitch cleared the Necro and
tied. I don't know.
I'm shrugging and opening my mic again.
I don't know.
What are you guys doing with your lives?
That's so many removals. Good lord. 5, 9.
Not a lot of SPP because it was all fouls, or a lot of it was fouls. It wasn't a bad SPP game. It was 8, 10, 17.
No, it was pretty. I mean, you would have liked to win that, but you got a decent amount of SPP out of it, and you tied, which is better than a loss certainly. Not a great MVP, but tie is not terrible. Although we did predict the
Necro failed 71% of their armor rolls, but that's probably because of fouls. It counts fouls in armor rolls.
We did predict the Necro to win this. I don't exactly remember why, but if that's the case, and the Chorfs getting a tie while also getting a decent amount of SPP is probably a good game for them.
Assuming that we know what we're talking about, yeah.
Which we probably don't.
Orcs versus Wood Elves. What did you predict?
Orc.
Damn it. I got a point though.
Me too. Leork Neeson got MVP and leveled, so I'm really excited to see what the Strength 5 break tackle strip ball player took.
He also got niggled, sadly.
He has tackle now, though, so he's a block tackle, break tackle, strip ball, Strength 5 orc. he's a cage diver extraordinaire.
He is Dr. Robert, sort of, not really at all. The Wood Elves got 2 armor breaks, and one of them, I think, was the niggle on Leork Neeson, unless that's an existing injury. It might have been.
He got 2 armor breaks and inflicted 2 KOs. Would like to point out.
Then no, it couldn't have been. Yeah, then it couldn't have been.
Leork Neeson got 10 SPP out of that game.
Yep, well, the Orcs caused 3 injuries with blocks, and the Wood Elf sustained 7, so either dodges or boots were mean this game.
Yeah, that's sort of how we expected this to go, and that a lot of elves were on the floor. A lot of, like, a 3-0 game as Orcs means that you made the other team not exist anymore, and then just ran it in a couple times while there wasn't a team to stop you. Because otherwise, there's no way the Orcs can really do that, because they're so slow. Like, this is poor.
Looks like some bad block dice.
Yeah, poor Luke, man.
United, yeah.
Yeah, not great.
Not even that many
dice.
Block dice from Orcs Quotation Cinema. I think he just pitch cleared him instantaneously and then fouled him into the ground.
While running the ball in repeatedly. Ugh, that would have not been a fun game to play. So after that, this is what our leaderboard looks like. So we've got JJ Cash. This is much closer than the other div. Oh, right. Well, JJ Cash has played an extra game because that was this week that he's already played despite it getting rolled today somehow. Anyway, so there should be 4, 5, there's like 7 teams all tied at the start with 1-1 records. Nobody has gone 2-0 in this div at all. So all still really tight. Like half the division is within each other, like very, very close. So teams?
Would you like to just as a point tally? Would you like to guess how many points you earned across this week?
1.
0. Would you like to know how many points I earned across this week?
-1.
0.
We're both really good at this.
We're both perfectly average.
Awesome.
We are as good as a coin flip for predicting matches.
Normally we're better than that. This was just a bad week, I guess.
I don't care. It was fun.
Yeah. We might as well just. We don't. Who needs a recap? You should just flip coins. You don't need us. Just flip a coin. And
I mean, why do we even bother playing Blood Bowl? We should just flip coins.
I mean, yeah, I would probably have a better win rate if I did that.
You would, yes.
I don't know if that's actually true, but
I mean, you have to go look at your record.
it's definitely not true for my Nurlge.
Yeah. So philosophical. I'm just gonna pronounce it like that.
Philosophical.
Philosophical, or yeah, philosophical.
It's philosophical, but with cool instead.
I mean, it's a lot of things change, but yes. Wonder Jr., the ogre, is 2 points away, probably from Stand Firm or Block if he's really lucky. Wilhelm Wonder, I think, is a new addition. No, he's actually played 13 matches as a human blitzer and has 0 SPP. What an absolute unit. Winston Wonder, guard, nice piece.
I'm just gonna sit here with my mouse over this thrower and wait for you to get to him. I mean, we've talked about him before, but like...
I've been there. Wilson Wonder is actually really interesting too. Jump up plus movement guard. I don't know why that wasn't dodge as a double.
So mobile, so
yeah.
Guard. I mean, you can put guard anywhere on the pitch, wherever you want, whatever. It's easy.
Yeah. Wilbert Wonder is a great piece as well. Nice kill piece. Ruben Runny, nice catcher. No, through Tossley.
7448. Dodge sure hands pass. What is
plus movement? He's a plus movement vampire with a bunch of skills.
Yep.
He's 2 SPP from getting block.
At level 5, 6.
Level 6, actually.
1 level away from legend, picking up block. But I mean, to be fair, like that's basically all you really want on a ball carrier is block, dodge, sure hands, whatever stats you can get that aren't armor, and you have a perfect ball carrier. So like he's an amazing.
I would take plus armor. No, I'm just kidding. I would take plus movement again. Movement 8 all day.
And like on any race, basically, like the perfect ball carrier is sure hands, block, dodge, and then as many stats as you can get. And he can do that, and he also has a really good throwing game with Agi 4 and pass. So
yep, incredible. To the plus Agi catcher, Derek Dashing. Like, I mean, this is the sort of things that humans need to remain competitive in like the bash matchups. It's true. If he does take armor, he could have green across the board, which is just a very aesthetically pleasing thing to have. Yeah, in order for humans to keep up, they really need these Agi ups to kind of like give them a more elfy game option when they do get in those bash matchups, so they're just never going to win through punching. Because humans can chase down and punch out every Agi team.
Humans are great. Yeah, they're great early, and they're great at like early to mid TVs because they have 4 players with strength access, essentially. Like, it's a lot of guard. They can beat agi teams, but they also have the speed to do things against bash teams. And with all these, but later game that falls off with all these stats, it makes it much easier. Not Nihilak and the Lizards?
Speaking of stat freaks, we have the plus movement skink of an agi 5 block skink, 3+ strength source.
Where did L go? Because
and a block pro niggled Coxagore. So there's a lot of injuries on this team. I understand why you're keeping the strength busted Kermit Jafrock around, but also, why'd you take Sherfried over Sprint? He would be no, he's not quite a natural.
I'm glad L's still here. I wanted to show you this. Look at this. Count how many strength 5 players are on this team. The answer is 4. What?
Pretty dumb.
What? Whatever.
It's a great team. It's carrying a couple of injuries that it's probably going to want to shed at some point. I would look to aggressively cycle Soride as soon as hand ground levels and picks up block. Probably you can get another killer going pretty quickly, and I don't think you need to keep an AB 8 0 stat, like 0 doubles, even just like 3 straight normal.
This team is fucking stupid. Next team. It's incredible. Like, look at all those stats. Like, oh, it's so good. It'd be so annoying to play against.
Yep. You talk about Chorfs because I don't want to, and I need to watch them.
Fair enough. Hausdorff's Homewreckers. These are Chorfs. There's double Mighty Blow Claw piling on. One of them is Agi 1, but who cares? And then all the rest are sort of exactly how you expect Chorfs to go. Some combination of Mighty Blow and Guard, and then if you don't get Claw by your 3rd skill, they just take Stand Firm. So you've got all these like semi-dwarfs. 2 of them are capable killers. We've got one who's a ball carrier with Sure Hands, Blodge. The Stand Firm is kind of a little weird, but it makes him a little more annoying on the sort of defense rather than offense. And then we have Jump Up Block, Mighty Blow, Break Tackle. I mean, he'll probably take Piling On at some point. It seems a little weird to do so, but the Jump Up makes him a lot more mobile because they're sort of false movement 9 with Sure Feet and Sprint. So the Jump Up makes him basically always movement 9, even when he's on the floor. Break Tackle makes him 2+ to get away. Bulls with Break Tackle are really, really good. They're so fast and become much more mobile with the Break Tackle involved. Because what this Chorf team needs is more guard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guard. Like 9 of your 11 players on the pitch up guard is ridiculous. Like it's almost unneeded because you have so much guard here, and you're gonna like that's really silly. But it makes the Hobgoblins certainly a lot more useful. 2 dirty players so we can stomp on stuff. I mean, this Chorf team is evil. The only way it could be, like, these agi busts matter very little. The strength, the movement 3 is kind of bad, but because of the Stand Firm, it kind of counteracts that. I didn't say too much guard.
Did you say too much guard while I was gone?
I did not.
Do I need to get the water bottle? I will squirt you.
I didn't say too much guard. I never said too much guard. I said there is a lot of guard, which is accurate because there are 9 players with guard on this team.
Yeah, that seems fine.
It is. I said that. I never said
14 players, and he only has 9. Up your game, son.
I did not say too much guard. I said there's a lot of guard, and then counted how much there was.
I don't think these Chorfs have eaten enough stat busts.
And that was what I was saying next. Is that the agi busts are irrelevant. The movement bust is irrelevant because he has Stand Firm. If he didn't have Stand Firm, it would be relevant. But he has Stand Firm, so who cares? And then some dirty player and stuff. I mean, Hobgoblins. Three doubles on the Hobgoblins is ludicrous. I mean, you'd rather have it on the Chaos Dwarfs, but like double. This team is dumb. Wood United and Luke took some damage in that last game, although Putt is still around.
Yep, Josh shooting. Brutally
did I?
The Orcs, yes, you did.
Oh,
which is a shame because they have not 1 but 2 incredibly stupid players.
Yep, we have Demi Mork, the Agi 5 block kickoff return thrower. So he's who needs to be elves when you can be orcs with an Agi 5 thrower? You'll note that almost too much guard is not too much guard.
No, we're shit talking you in the comments. Don't worry about it.
Like too much guard would be like 14 guard. Like, 'cause now you have doubles that are off the pitch and not doing anything, and that's just wasted TV. But any number between 0 and 11 is a good amount of guard to have.
Get 14 guard, then you line up 14 players in the LOF. Say your go.
Crazy thrower, and then we've got sort of black orcs that are doing the correct black orc thing, and that they've got some combination of guard, block, and stand firm. They all have block, which is great because this guy is not going to slow down his development, or it's not going to like slow it down more. It's already way behind, but it's not going to be any worse. One is movement 3, but stand firm sort of mitigates that. Then we have blitzers. We have a surfing / killer blitzer in Jesse Runthria, and we have the ludicrous Ballhawk in Leorc Neeson.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really gross orc team. It definitely does not have almost too much guard.
I'm very glad I've already played this orc team and not this season. I tied them last season, and that was before this happened.
I think I beat them. I can go back in the history and look.
You sir? You did beat them. You beat them 3-0.
Oh yeah, I styled on them, right?
I tied him 1-1. I don't remember what happened, but I recall it being probably should not have been a 1-1 tie.
Yeah, I don't remember what happened in mine either. I think that was the game though where I was competing with Rex for TD differential, and I was like, well, I need to start like not just 2-1 grinding my opponents, so I 3-0'd the Orcs, and I was like, your move. And then I went on to lose the last 2 games and threw my playoff spot. Yeah, well, your Claw Mighty Blow was a little on point that night.
It was. And then we have the Orcs. There's some guard thrown in amongst the other blitzers. There's a good support piece with the Blodge guard stand firm. Like, this one blitzer isn't as good as the other ones, only being block guard. But you know,
what a fucking peasant.
Yeah, three linemen, but we have to put all of them on the line generally, unless he's putting black orcs on the line. And the sneaky git is there just to make me angry. But yeah, there's another guard, which is awesome, and dirty players. So good
orc winos you don't need more than 1 DP, I think, for orc winos.
I don't think so either.
And if you get, don't stop it, fire him, and get a rookie.
Yeah, that the sneaky git shouldn't exist. Wood elves.
Putt Putt is out for a game. Hopefully, only MNG'd.
Yep, but he's an incredible player, so that's rough. But we do have some good other catchers available. There's Blodge Step, which is sort of standard progression, but very good. A couple good linemen in the Raj. There's 2 block. One is block guard movement, which is incredible. Block to keep him on his feet. Yard is so good on elves, and movement means he can put it wherever he wants. Then we have Maple Syrup, who's also a great lineman in Raj Agi. And then more standard ward answers than we've seen on other teams, but you can't. Ward answers are incredible. It's like, oh no, a standard ward answer. I'd rather have a standard ward answer than almost any other player in the game, with sort of strip ball, tackle, sidestep, block, dodge, leap, 8-3-4-7. And then another ward answer is picked up plus Agi, so he can even more reliable leaps. Also good. It's a good all round, right? He can be pass target, he can have really reliable leaps, he can sort of dodge in to pick up balls and stuff. Like, just the Agi makes them so versatile. And then movement, grab tree. Movement is so good on trees, so he doesn't need to roll to stand up anymore. And grab to help with one-turns and stuff. I mean, mostly standard wood elf team. Nothing too crazy to talk about here, other than Putt Putt being incredible, but he is out for a game. Shall we look at some Necro?
Do we have to?
Yes.
Harry Koo and the Common Nightmares. No Mighty Blow werewolf.
Boring.
Possibly a newly dead werewolf? Yeah, they died. Werewolves died. Chased Through the Night is brand spanking new.
Other werewolf is a reliable blitzer in that he's blodge tackle. So if you don't get the knockdown with the frenzy, you have the dodge option at the end, but you also have block tackle to knock people over. Good ball carrier in the Blodge Step Ghoul. Picking up guard on the whites, very, very standard for Necro, because the flesh golems will probably want to pick up block first, which they did. One of them is Blodge, but also movement busted. Ugh. Turns out movement 3 is bad.
I mean, Blodge Firm is probably worth keeping, even though he's movement 3.
Yeah, I agree.
Stand Firm, as we've discussed over and over again, negates some of the downsides of minus movement, simply because you can't be pushed back, and ergo you are always in contact with players without having to do a GFI when you stand up.
Yeah, that's the big thing with movement 3.
It's a pretty good Necro team. It doesn't have the all-important killer werewolves, but the support pieces are coming online. It's got the killing potential in dead people. It's got like some support whites. It's got a bit of
someone
kill
didn't read the REBBL rules.
So it's got Mighty Blow. Yeah, I mean he's breaking the rules, but this team might predate it. Who knows? So yeah, pretty good Necro team. Not outstanding, pretty good.
Yep. Some more wolf levels would be great. We basically want more Mighty Blow somewhere, but like the support pieces are good. The ball carrier is good. Probably want to pick up another ghoul at some point as well. Maybe like a Razzle ghoul.
I'm pretty sure that was a level 3. I'm pretty sure that was a level 3 werewolf that died that also didn't have a double. So
yeah,
at that point you were probably happy to recycle him anyway. So whatever.
Yeah, I think the next pickup is another ghoul, and you try to level him to get a Razzle ghoul. And then you probably want to try to find some more Mighty Blow somewhere.
Yep. And then we have JJ Cash's 3 cash 3 crew revenge.
Agi.
Yeah, I mean like these elves have a lot of Mighty Blow, you know.
Yeah, these elves have a weird amount of strength access.
Yeah. It's a really strong
ugly elf.
Yeah, exactly. Scooter Jackpot Jax is Blodge Agi 5 sure hands. 1 SPP away from maybe pass? Like
yeah, he doesn't have a thrower, but he doesn't really need a thrower with Blodge Agi sure hands. You just play like he's not playing the you might want to consider getting a thrower just because you have so many Agi catchers. You have the option of doing the pass game.
Well, you could just pass on Scooter. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, you'd have to get a double.
Oh, because he doesn't have passing access naturally, of course, yes. Never mind.
It might be worth getting a thrower just because you have all the like receiving targets now with the Agi 4 and Agi 5 and stuff.
It's the pass that's the hard part, right?
Yeah.
So you just pass with Scooter and you're willing to commit a reroll for a 1.
Yeah, I suppose
like on Agi 5 he passes. I mean, you could get fucking strong arm if you wanted to go totally ham.
That's true. He's 1 SVP away from getting strong arm. That's so fun.
Fuck it. Like just
do it.
Just
get strong armor and Scooter. I want it.
Yeah, do it. I want like 2+ long passes on a fucking human team.
You could get a thrower for the leader reroll, I guess. But like Scooter is just incredible.
I was supposed to unironically say cuck again.
other blitzers are more standard in that they've gone some combination of strength skills like guard and Mighty Blow. Although Donovan has got dodge and diving tackle, annoyingly. And we've got Agi on Benny because these blitzers are incapable of rolling normals. Kick and Dirty Player are sort of standard. Line mini skills. Guard is a standard Ogre skill. Who cares that he's Agi 1? He'll probably get Stand Firm. And then we got these catchers. One is Agi, or this is a lineman, but he's sort of a catcher with Agi block. We got 3 catchers who are Blodge Step. One is Blodge Step, Diving Tackle, and Agi. So he's a very good catcher with catch and Agi, and he's very good on and annoying on defense with Lodge, Step, Diving, Tackle.
I would probably look to recycle Poker. An AV bust on a human catcher is pretty rough to bear. I mean, that's why they're so bad in tabletop. It's because they have that AV7.
He is Blodge Step, which is pretty good, and it turns out Movement 8 is pretty good.
It's only 2 levels, and it's 2 normals. Just get new ones. I mean, I guess you're already leveling 1 in Payday. Once Payday starts to level up, I would recycle Poker, but it's fine.
You can also have 4 catchers on the human team, right? So like you
can,
could just
but
buy
it's a lot of expensive strength. I mean, it's not that expensive; they're 70k, but it's a lot of strength too, right? You don't want to go too ham on the catchers. I don't think. Like human linemen at 6.338 are totally solid.
Yeah. I don't know if I would recycle him now. It's only 1 armor 7
I wouldn't
piece.
do it now. I would do it when payday is level 2 or level 3.
And when you need to spend money, like right now they're 70k and you only have 90k. What if like your ogre dies or something? You don't want to have that.
What if?
Well, I just wait until you win again and you're over 150, and then I'd buy a catcher.
If your ogre dies, you reroll into a better team.
That's a pretty good team, man.
It is. If all humans rolled stat ups like this, I would play them more often.
Elves.
I backed out too far. No, rookie mistake.
Well, I will talk about it then. Order your players in a way that makes sense. God damn, man. Lineman, blitzer, lineman, catcher, lineman, thrower, lineman, catcher, lineman, blitzer, lineman. Fuck you. Put them in order. I'm going to talk about them in order. Thrower, where is he? Here's the thrower. He's an amazing thrower. That's pass, safe throw, agi, dodge, strong arm, and kickoff return. Like, the only thing you're missing to make your passes even better is accurate, but like you don't really need it with agi 5 and strong arm. But you could make those 2+ long bombs if you really want to. And the kickoff return is actually really handy because it turns out high elves are actually pretty slow for elves. So it's harder to do the stay in the backfield and then hurl the ball sort of play when you don't have the movement to get where you want to go. So if you press, Mr. Blodgers, there's a button when you're on your team management sort of screen, like where you can hire and fire players. There's a button down at the bottom that says switch players, and you can click on it and then click a player and an empty slot, or a player and another player, and it switches the positions that they're in. So now, what's the next one we can talk about? We can talk about blitzers. Here's one of them. He's down here. Blodge strip ball. They're fast, pretty like other elven blitzers. They're fast blodge, so that's what you want to do. Both of them have gone that way, which is fine. You would like to get like Mighty Blow if you can get it, but without doubles, that's nothing you can do. Agi strip, so he's a little more mobile than this one.
You reorder players, Mr. Blodgers, by...
I said that already.
Oh, sorry. You were talking, but I was talking Slice.
I mentioned it. Don't worry about it. I think I would have like tackle over strip ball on one of those blitzers instead of the double strip ball.
I refuse to talk about this team until he reorders it.
There are 2 catchers, I think. It's hard to tell because they're not in a good order. One of them is Blodge Step, standard elf things. High elf catchers are incredible because they're also strength 3. They're strength 3 movement 8 catchers, which you don't normally see.
If they can roll doubles, they suddenly become really, really gross, like killer pieces.
Yeah, killers or even guard pieces or whatever. And then
I think guard is better on the blitzers because they're slower, but like the high movement strength, if you get the strength access, I think making them into killers.
Yeah, like it's just elves though. You have no strength access. The moment you roll doubles on any, like a blitzer, I think if you roll doubles on a blitzer, you just take Mighty Blow. It's hard to take guard over Mighty Blow since you might not get it again, and you take guard on basically anybody else who gets doubles, which we have done on a couple of these linemen.
Killer catcher.
Oh yeah, if you can do it, because they're strength 3 movement 8. It's so good. And then a bunch of linemen that are all annoyingly ordered and I don't want to talk about, but there's some combination of dodge, wrestle, dodge, block. One of them has guard, 2 of them have guard, one of them has kick but is also armor 7. There's
3 of the linemen have guard, actually.
That's a surprising amount of guard, but that's the correct double to take on a high elf lineman is guard. So that's really good for the punchy, and you can combine that well with the strip ball.
4 rerolls. That's quite the bench for high elves, and that's quite the reroll count for high elves.
It is.
I mean, they do 1 in 9 a lot, but I would consider ditching some stuff here. You're sitting at 1920, and this does not look like a 1920. Yeah, I would strongly consider ditching a reroll and maybe even trimming a lineman, especially. I mean, I hate to say it, but the dodge guard one that's armor 7. Well, I mean, I'd probably look to recycle the kick first. I don't know. I'd look to recycle something here. Have they been winning? They have won 11 of their 19 games. So they have a quite excellent win rate. They win or draw 75% of their games.
So far this season, they're 0-1-1 though. They haven't won yet.
Sure, that's true. But overall, the team wins, yes.
Professor Chaos and the Greenskin Brawlers are some orcs. No troll here. Black Orc, Black Orc, Black Orc, Black Orc. Block first and then guard. One of the two ways to build Black Orcs. This is the one that I probably like, and they have gone that way. Then we have 4 Blitzers. 2 of them went guard first to make up for going guard second on the Black Orcs, which is good. One of them has become a support piece with guard stand firm, or lodge guard stand firm. And then 2 are the more blitzy types with tackle, mighty blow, strength, and tackle piling on mighty blow pro. The pro is I think new as of this week.
Yep, that was Sork getting 10 SPP. I mean, I look at this team and I just have like one question kind of comes to mind. Ben, do you think they have almost too much guard?
No. They need 4 more guard.
Yes.
Right. The thrower is fine. He's yeah, I think you keep like the throwers. I was gonna say, since he has dodge, he's better to keep than a normal thrower. If he didn't have dodge now, you might consider recycling him for a new thrower. But blodge, kickoff return, he could take fend, and then if he doesn't roll a double or a stat or something, you could probably start over.
If he doesn't roll a double or a stat up next level, I would fire him.
I would take fend, and then I would probably fire him after that. And then 3
Modge, get a better ball carrier.
3 linemen. And one of them is Razzle, dirty player, which is fine. Yeah, orcs. There's not much to say there. They don't have a troll, which is another way of building orcs.
Which is the correct way to build orcs.
Then we have Boss Hog Outlaws by Volpez and Kulta. So we've got some Chorfs here. These are less gross Chorfs than we've seen previously, in that they don't have claw yet. Basically.
Have you seen Average Rice's Chorfs in 10D and Might?
I have not.
He's got like 2 claw mighty blow at like 1200 TD.
Oh, well,
yeah, we're fine.
So the blockers are doing the standard blocker thing where they go some combination of mighty blow and guard, and then if they don't roll a claw by level 3, they take stand firm, and then they're fired and recycled basically. So far he hasn't rolled any claw, but we've got a bunch of mighty blow and guard lying around, and one of them with plus strength, which is incredible, as we've talked about before.
Chorfs without claw, it's just fair. I feel like this is how Chorfs should be.
I agree.
Mutation is cheating.
I agree. 2 Bull Centaurs, both picked up Break Tackle block. Break Tackle is so good on Bull Centaurs. And then one of them has grabbed Dodge as well to mitigate that 1 and also make him more annoying to knock over. So no sure hands yet, but I know that Volpez likes to carry on the Hobgoblins, so we've got a Hobgoblin with sure hands to do that. And then Wrestle and Dirty Player, the other sort of standard Hobgoblin levels. See, this is a nice ordered team. Look, the positionals are all separated by 1 slot. They're all in a nice order. Like, this is good. The only thing you could complain about is that they're not, like, in level order, right? Like, this strength Chorf should be above the, like, switched with the one at the bottom there, so that, like, it's a nice cascade. But this is, like, you know, it's good enough. This is excellent. Good team ordering, Volpez and Kulta. I appreciate you.
Game recognizes game.
With a Rebel Yell by Jasposaurus Rex. We got some Undead here.
With more stats. An Agi White. I thought that was an Agi Mummy for a second because of the order.
I'm so used to the mummies being at the top, I couldn't find them. I was like, where are the mummies? That's a piling on mummy. I don't like it.
No. I mean, I mentioned this last time. You don't want your strength 5 pieces, especially one of your only two of your only
guard
like players that is higher than strength 3 to be on the ground.
It's guard on the ground, it's movement 3 on the ground, it's strength 5 on the ground. None of those things are great. Well, yeah, it's with a Rebel Yell. Like, it's a fairly obvious music reference.
I mean, it's also a reference that has been made about 10,000 times by teams in this league, I must say. Not taking away from Jasper.
More.
The number of Rebel Wilson and Rebel Yell references that I have seen on team.
So the whites, one is Agi, so we have like a pass target, especially since we have a ghoul with Agi as well. We have the sort of outlet available, which is kind of cool.
Kind of like a more reliable sacker because he can dodge away on a 2+, which is kind of nice. Though I would like to see him get guard as well, because you're gonna want to kind of use him as a mobile Swiss Army knife, kind of like catch-all for doing all sorts of things. A Passepartout, if you want to get all French about it.
The other white is Mighty Blow piling on, sort of standard, but then he took guard, which is okay. I would have considered maybe tackle instead, because you only have one. You have the guard on the mummies, but the whites want to get it eventually on Undead, so I think that's fine. The movement bust is unfortunate, but I don't really think you can get rid of him. The catch ghoul is interesting, but we have the Agi ghoul and the Agi white who can throw it at him, which is kind of neat. Air Undead, I believe. Bunch of zombies that do things. They're block, dirty player, and one of them is strength. Just kind of cool. Dirty player is standard for zombies. Block is, if you already have some dirty player, take block. That can be the line zombies. They're slightly more annoying.
Yep.
And they're slightly more annoying to mark people up with, and so is the strength guy, slightly more annoying to block people up with. 2 mummies. The block guard stand firm one is incredible. The guard stand firm one is good, and then you add mighty blow and it's less, or you add piling on it and it's less good. But the guard stand firm is certainly really, really nice on the mummy. And then dirty player zombie again, and then 2 more ghouls. One of them is a rookie, and then one of them is a really, really good ball carrier in Agi Lodge Grands. Skaven?
Yeah, Skaven it is.
Not many Skaven here.
Nope. A sparse team indeed. Their MNG'd Storm Vermin is a bit unfortunate, and they only have one. Or no, they have another one rather, but it's a 0 SPP.
Yeah.
More or less.
And then, those are Storm Vermin.
And then the team is basically gun runners. So we've got a Blodge Step, a Blodge Step Strip, a Rod Strip, and a Strength Up Rod. The wrestle is new rather on the Strength Up guy.
Yeah.
We had kind of talked about whether or not you wanted wrestle or what have you on that player, and I think wrestle was the right call, even if it does feel a bit sad to be putting your Strength 3 gunner run on the floor. But
it just makes cage diet, like Skaven will do the very, very, very much will do the sort of wait for the good opportunity and then strike at your cage or your defenses sort of play, and it becomes way easier when you have the strength available to do it, because suddenly you're one dying stuff instead of uphilling it. And
it's really
it's
strong.
super good. Although it's unfortunate that most of the rest of the team doesn't exist. This gutter runner, Cheese Whiz, and as long as he can keep him alive and get a few more levels, he's basically a team by himself. So it's not too bad. It's unfortunate that the Storm Vermin are out, because they're also really important, but you'll at least get some inducements for your next few games, and it turns out you can have 5 gutter runners, or with when you induce Skitter Stab, and there's also a Storm Vermin with Glart Smash Rip you can take as well. Rumblebee, how did you tie this, you absolute beauty of a human being?
That ended up surprisingly nice.
Two Mighty Blow Troll Slayers, very standard. Take Mighty Blow, probably piling on, tackle, jump up if you can get it. They're your blitzers, they're your punchers. We have 2 blitzers. One has gone jump up, Mighty Blow, tackle. He can probably get piling on for his next level. Jump up is just also good if you don't take piling on dwarves, because they're immobile and that saves you some movement if they get knocked over. Tackle seems weird because you have so much tackle elsewhere, but the Longbeards are slow and tend to get involved in scrums. So if you need that safety piece, if you need that, I need to knock over this ball carrier who's potatoing, it's really handy to have it on a movement 5 rather than a movement 4. Other one is guard stand firm, so he's just also being a support piece, just slightly faster. 2 runners. One is the ball carrier, who's a very good ball carrier with strength 4, block, kickoff, return. And the other one is the defensive runner with Razzle. And then dwarves.
It's a really standard dwarf team.
It's a very standard dwarf team, other than the strength on the runner, which is very nice to have. But that's like the only surprising thing here. The rest of it is kind of exactly how you'd expect a dwarf team to be built. Guard, Mighty Blow on those Longbeards. That will continue to get those things. And then we have Teddy Rose and the Snake Kitties. These are some lizards that got punched a little bit, I think, in the last game, if I recall correctly.
Didn't they win?
Yeah,
they lost, right? They got the crap kicked out of them by the Orcs.
Yep. So we've got a guard stand firm Crocs. He's only 4 SPP away from leveling too, so we can pray for the double. Basically, you want that block if you can get it. And then a bunch of Saurus. Unfortunately, one is Niggled and one is armor busted, which makes them massive targets. But it's really unfortunate to play without Saurus, so you probably have to keep them for now, especially since you can't afford to replace them. 2 rookie ones, and the other ones are block guard for the most part. One of them is break tackle, which I think is fine. One slightly more mobile Saurus. But we're going to want to get tackle and maybe a mighty blow in there somewhere, along with more block on the rookie ones. And the skinks are fine. No development. Awesome. That's what you want on skinks, other than like 1 diving tackle one and 1 block diving. The block one is really good because blodge, and you know, it's a double. The diving tackle is interesting. I'm surprised he took that over like sidestep after picking up block. But he's out for his next game, so that's unfortunate. That's a good ball carrying skink and slightly annoying on defense.
It's only really developed skink for sure.
Yeah, I think I would have taken sidestep maybe over diving tackle after taking block as the first skill.
Yeah, I mean sidestep is a traditional first level for all skinks. It's just kind of like a good utility skill for them to have. And diving tackle has, a lot less utility on a strength 2 player without sidestep.
It does have blocks that makes it slightly better, but I still think I would like the sidestep combos both on
in
defense
particular
and
on the
offense.
Block one, yes. Yeah. Particularly on the block one, I would have gone sidestep because blodge step is a great ball carrier and a great marking safety if you need.
It combos well both on offense and defense, whereas like the block step or block diving tackle only really helps you on defense and probably slightly less than the sidestep would.
Yep. Don't love break tackle as a first skill. It just doesn't really do that much, and
I think it's fine on one Saurus if you really want the mobility somewhere. But like I would probably take block first, but I don't hate it.
Yeah. I also probably would have given one of these Carol or Witch Doctor probably would have picked up tackle or mighty blow depending on the matchup. And Pancake needs to be fired. As sad as that is.
I did say that, but you can't afford to replace him now, and it's better to have an armor 8 block Saurus than not have a Saurus.
For sure, yeah. Like you wait until you can replace him, but like you don't want him getting any more SPP because he's armor 8.
Yeah,
ruins a lot of the utility of a Saurus. There's no reliability. Like armor breaks of any kind are a huge problem for lizards simply because they only have 7 real. So you can't really afford to be carrying around armor busts. On players that aren't essential. But
you can't afford to replace them now, so you just try to avoid avoid scoring on that Saurus. And
avoid. Yeah, that's.
I mean, if you can't say no to injuries if you get them because it helps you win the game. But
you certainly want to avoid feeding it any SPP.
You just pray you don't get an MVP on him and replace him when you can. Yeah. So Starry Fight and with a Rebel Yell. So we have Rumblebee and somebody
Rumblebee's
else who isn't Rumblebee.
I give up. Yeah, the not Rumblebee team wins.
Yeah. With the Rebel Yell is the 1760 Undead.
No, I mean like Undead should get the shit kicked out of them by Dwarves, but
they should.
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
I'm predicting Undead entirely because you fucked up last time, Rumblebee. In reality, I think the Dwarves are probably at an advantage here. Likely they're going to outguard. The Troll Slayers can sort of counter the Strength 5 a little bit. The Tackle Mighty Blow is sort of incredible against ghouls, although there's 2 Tackle Mighty Blow, which are going to be able to do some ghoul hunting. They get inducement, but there's a massive bench for the Undead, and there's some dirty player. Let's go with Undead.
Cool. I'm gonna predict the Dwarves again because I never learn.
Snake Kitties and another Bloody Bell. So we have the sort of beaten up Skaven versus the lizards who are sort of missing a couple block on the Saurus and not having much skink development. They're going to be not having much development at all, I guess.
Do the Skaven have strip ball?
Yes. No. Maybe. Yes. They have 2.
Skaven win.
They have 2 strip ball, and they have the strength 3 gutter runner, who is going to be really good against the skink.
The lizards have 0 tackle.
Yeah, that's
Lizard should lose that game.
Yeah, like the Skaven and the Skaven don't have much in terms of players, but it turns out the only 2 players they really need are the strength 3 gutter runner and the strip ball gutter runner, and then they can probably just win the game outright. They'll be able to get a wizard probably. They also have Glart Smash Rip, who turns out is, Claw is kind of good against Saurus. I'm gonna go Skaven. Wayside Warmongers and the Boss Hog Outlaws. So we've got.
Do they get any inducements?
Yes.
It's 13. The lizards are only 1360 after loners. The rats have 1, 2,
I suppose
3,
there are a lot of
4, 5, 6, 7. They have 4 line rats.
200.
200. So they get
20?
140k.
Which is a wizard if they want to spend 10k.
So, probably a wizard, and that really cinches it. So, or likely cinches it. I should.
I'm gonna it's a hard matchup for the lizards. The Saurus aren't incredibly useful. Like the strength 4 doesn't really matter. The Skaven are just gonna run away. It's hard for the lizards. Wayside Warmongers and the Boss
get like
Outlaws.
1 or 2 hits per turn, and they only have 1 mighty blow. So.
Yeah.
Wayside Warmongers and so this is Chorfs versus
humans.
The Wayside. Not a good matchup for humans traditionally.
There's not a lot of there's no claw on this Chorf team, but it's
mighty blow does enough against
armor 8.
Usually.
Yeah.
So this is the team with the crazy thrower.
It is.
They're insanely outguarded. So like if the Chorfs can pull them into a scrum, they're gonna have a terrible time.
Yep.
As Vulpus has what? 9 guard, as we discussed.
Yep. The thrower.
That's a different team.
The thrower is
they're
really
actually not
good.
aggressively out. This is the other Chorf team that only has 4 guard, so they're like more or less equally guarded.
The strength 4 agi 4 thrower is gonna do a thing, but like they will lose in like the punch fest if they get involved in one against the Chorfs. It turns out like just 4 mighty blow is like good enough against armor 8 to like get 1 or 2 removals at least, and then suddenly it becomes hard when you're missing players.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be terribly surprised if the humans win this, but
neither would I.
It's going to be on the back of like agi shenanigans. The humans do not have a bench, which is going to be a huge problem.
Yep.
I think I'm going to lean Chorfs, but I wouldn't be surprised to be wrong on this.
Yeah, same. I agree with that. And that I wouldn't be surprised if humans won, but I think Chorfs are probably more likely to win. Scaled measures and the greenskin brawlers. So we have Orcs versus the stupid like billion-y strength lizards. Lizards.
So Orcs are traditionally good against lizards because of the strength advantage that they have. And
they don't have one anymore.
They do not have one here. Not even close. The Orcs have 4 guard. The lizards have
2.
The lizards have 3.
But they also have 4 strength 5
billion
points.
Strength 5, which is kind of like, pseudo guard, sort
of. So the lizards do have a niggle and an armor 8 against the sort of piling on mighty blow that exists, which might actually do a thing. Especially since there's also pro, right? We can reroll those blocks. You can be super greedy with it. If the Orcs can play like really hard for removals, and if lizards get removed, suddenly they start losing because that's what happens to lizards. But that strength is going to be so hard for Professor Chaos to get through, I think. I'm gonna go lizards. But once again, I think the Orcs could do it if they get removals, but like they're going to be banking on removals.
Yeah.
It's not
the
easy.
The lizards are just going to aggressively out-pitch control them.
It's not easy, and if the Orcs can get removals, the lizards will lose, right? Because it's not... You generally have that problem with lizards in that if you lose Saurus, it becomes way harder for you. It's almost...
It snowballs really hard.
Yeah.
And he is carrying a niggle and an armor bust.
Yep.
On top of...
And it's almost worse for the lizards in that it snowballs even harder, because if you remove a Saurus, you're likely removing a strength 5, and that's one of their big advantages against the Orcs here. So like I think lizards win on average, but if the orcs happen to get removals, it snowballs really hard, really fast. But I'm gonna go with lizards.
Yeah, I agree.
Hausdorff Homewreckers versus the First and Forsaken Lions. So this is the 1920 High Elf team that doesn't really look like a 1920 High Elf team versus the 1950 like claw spam Chorfs. Ugh.
I mean, the High Elves should get utterly wrecked here.
They should. There's a lot of dodge on the High Elves, and there's a lot of tackle, claw, mighty blow on the. So the only thing I think that the High Elves, so in general, High Elves, they are the armor 8 elf team, which is handy. Not against claw, claw, mighty blow in particular. And they're also slow, so they're not going to be able to really run away too much from the Chorfs. The one thing I think they have going for them is that ludicrous thrower, right? They have a pretty they should have a really easy time 2-turning, but you know, if they 2-turn, then the Chorfs get another 3 line blocks with claw, mighty blow, and eventually you run out of elves. So I think I want to go Chorfs here, but like I fully expect this to be like the Chorfs will win this if they get removals, and if they're unlucky, the elves will probably just run up the score.
If RK goes to 12 players and drops a reroll, I think he gets a wizard, which would be a big help in winning this game.
It would.
I don't know about surviving it. I agree. I think the High Elves are gonna have a.
Yeah, I think it's gonna take the Chorfs getting unlucky with removals for the High Elves to win it. Like, they can run up the score, but only if they don't lose too many players first. The thrower is their big advantage, but since they're slow in armor 8, they're probably going to lose some players to the Chorfs.
This is where we predict the orcs versus the humans, if we had one.
I predict the humans. Point for me.
Nope.
Okay.
Wood United versus Common Nightmares. Necro versus Wood Elves.
Yep.
So this is the Necro team without Mighty Blow, but does have the nice Blodge Tackle Werewolf, which is good against rather good against
Wood Elves.
I am really tired.
Me too.
It's starting to show.
Yep. We're almost done. Don't worry.
Almost there yet. So the Necro have 1 tackle.
The Wood Elves are missing their crazy catcher. To be fair,
right, but the Necro have 1 tackle and 1 mighty blow.
Yeah,
this should go to the Wood Elves, I think. Do they have sure hands?
The Necro? I think so.
They do, yes. So they have that at least. They have Blodge Step, but the Wood Elves do have a tackle sacking piece, so I'd expect that to be making an appearance.
The big thing for me is that the Necro do have tackle and they do have mighty blow, but they're not on the same piece. Which means that we can either sort of make the knockdown. The knockdown is going to be really likely because it's a frenzy tackle block piece. So and he's armor 8 or movement 8, so he can catch up with those catchers and then 2-die them, like essentially at will with tackle. But I think the Necro are going to need to get the removals here. And I don't think they're going to be able to as much with just the white available with the mighty blow. So I think I agree with you in that the Wood Elves are probably gonna. I think the Wood Elves take this. So
I mean, we don't actually have a contentious pick, so I'm going to switch to the Wood Elves.
From the Wood Elves?
No, you were. Oh, you were predicting. Oh no, right. I'm going to switch to the Necro.
Okay. All right. So let's bring up the title screen. We agreed a lot in that round, but that's okay, I guess.
We've been doing this for a while. We tend to agree.
That's true. Unless we predict things separately, but then we end up getting a lot of ties, apparently, is what happens. So we will be back next week on Tuesday to take a look at some games next week, because it'll be a match review week. So if you have a particularly exciting game, whether it be just because it was funny or a good game or some crazy things happened, feel free to give us a poke. If not, we are going to watch the Ogres. Telling you that right now.
I mean, as soon as I see an interesting result on the Ogre screen page, 100% watching it. Like, I would have watched the game this week had it, not been a team review week. We don't change the setting.
We don't change the format. But if you don't PM one of us and tell us that your game was fun to watch, we're gonna watch the Ogres. And feel free to just poke us if you have a game scheduled and you want us to cast it. If I am available, because I'm the one who does the streaming portion of this, I will certainly do my best to live stream your game for these divisions. We get first dibs on them, being your sports reporters, recappers, what have you. So yeah, I'm excited to continue doing this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will see you next week. Until next time, I've been Steakmittens.
And I'm Shadorra.